sport fans watching around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let's get straight into the episode.
Yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun.
Alright, take two. Alright. Before we start, let me say something to you that I do say to everyone that comes on, but I would not be saying it if it wasn't true. You're sitting here because I find you interesting. That's because you are an interesting person. I want to learn more about you, how you think, and how you feel. And I love that I have the opportunity to be able to share this experience. So I really appreciate you coming over, and I thank you for sitting down. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very excited to be sitting down with the person I'm sitting with today. In fact, this is my second time trying the intro because he made me laugh first time getting through it. There's not many people that I feel entirely comfortable and vulnerable with talking about what's on my mind, and he is definitely one of those people, because not only do we get along, but he also understands me. He's a conspiracy head, he's a great mate, he's a great family member, he's a great friend. I call him Skulli, and so does everyone else, but this is Jayden McCully.
What's going on, my people? Thank you for having me, brother.
Alright, beautiful.
Very excited. Am I allowed to say fucking?
You can say anything you want until we get to, I think it's like 10,000 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers. We are never getting monetized, so we can say anything we want.
Right? So up until 1,000, that's
up until that.
Right, okay.
So we can say racism stuff, we can say sexism stuff.
I'm not going to go too crazy here.
Right?
I'm not going to go too crazy.
As I said, I usually ask everyone this. First of all, how do you feel sitting down for the first time on here?
Good.
Good?
Yeah, very good.
Any nerves? Most people feel nervous.
Well, obviously you're going to feel a little bit of nerves, but nah, not like I'm shaking or anything like that. No, it's good.
No.
I haven't done anything like this before, so I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You know, I feel like that as you're already established, you know, you'll just guide me through it. Like,
yes, all right. What a great mindset to have, because that's the mindset that I try to incorporate anyway.
Yeah.
If you 100%. Start to feel like you don't really know what to get out, I'll jump in. I'll just fucking, what about that crazy thing, bro? You know what I mean? I'm the one that's freaking out.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I'm the one that's freaking out.
Mad.
I've been, as I said in the intro, I've been excited for this episode. Yeah. All right, I've missed you. I've really missed you.
I missed you too, bro.
It's been a while since we've had a good yarn.
Oh, fuck, it's been a long time, actually.
Yeah.
It's been a very long time since we've had a proper talk.
Anytime I call you, it's a 1.5 hour phone call. Every time.
It is.
Every time.
Yeah, minimum.
You know what I mean?
Minimum.
And it's like, I just feel so
No matter
cool.
what we're both doing, we stop everything and it's like 1.5 hours right now, we're going to talk.
Yeah. All right, so I know you've been really, really busy as of lately. That's why it's hard for me and other people. Shout out to anyone else who has also had trouble getting in contact with you. But what have you been consisting yourself of lately?
I just got back from a cruise.
On
Holiday.
I'm excited to hear about this cruise.
Bro. It was so good. That's the thing with cruising. It's like a pure holiday.
Yeah.
You know, other holidays, you go, you fly, you get to your destination, and you got to set up everything yourself. Everything, including your cooking and whatever. All that's got to be done by you. Well, most of the time you'll be going out.
And if you did pre-book everything, like the events for the day, the travel guides, this, that, I've got to get up at this time. I have to be ready by this time. You know, it's a mission. Holidays are a fucking mission,
I've been
bro.
saying that, bro. Ever since I got back, everyone I talk to, they're like, you know, how was the cruise or whatever? I'm like, it's the most perfect holiday because you literally don't have to do anything for yourself. And I'm not saying go on a cruise and be fucking lazy, but if you think about a holiday and what a holiday is meant to be, it's meant to be stress-free and just like relieve yourself from everything.
Yeah, it's a break.
A proper break, yeah, exactly. And that's what it was. It was really good.
No. So where was this cruise to?
We went to Vanuatu
and
New Caledonia.
What are they like? Because I've never been to either of them.
Well, you haven't been to...
I've never been to Vanuatu.
Well,
I don't even know. I think that's near Fiji, eh?
Sort of. It's a bit... a little bit closer to Australia.
Dude, you're reminding me as you do that how good you are at geography. Like, I used to go to your house and we'd go on Google Earth.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's just check out this building in Shanghai. I'm like, bro. You're like, that reminds me of this place in the Middle East. Let me quickly pull that up.
Zoom that up.
You're like those geocache guys, not the geocache, geolocation guys.
I know what you're talking about when they do the... Yeah, nice. Good one. And they keep clicking. It's like within 2 meters.
It's like location in 1 second. And then an image pops up of a tree. Like, oh, yeah, South Australia, East Australia, bang. And they click on it. It's a 1 kilometer.
Exactly. Literally within a kilometer of it. It's crazy.
Oh, so Vanuatu. What's that like?
Yeah, and New Caledonia, which are right next to each other. Vanuatu's a little bit closer. But in Vanuatu, we went to Port Santo. Mystery Island, and then we went to Port Vila, which is in New Caledonia, and then we went to Noumea.
Okay.
And I don't know if you heard about...
Noumea's actually beautiful. I've seen photos of Noumea.
It's not,
I was going to do a cruise there.
It's nice, but it's not my favorite destination.
Okay.
Like Mystery Island, for example, when we went there, I swam around the
Mystery
whole
Island?
Yeah. That's
fucking Scooby-Doo. That's actually an island of Scooby-Doo, the movie, Mystery Island. That's actually a real place. Is that the place?
Yeah, no. Wait.
Because there is a place that
maybe
is.
It is.
It
I
actually,
don't know.
there is actually Mystery Island from Scooby-Doo is actually a real place. I've seen it on Google once.
No, I know because they have the whole thing still there, the big face that like goes through the wharf. When you walk up. I know what you're talking about.
And they have the Mystery Island thing from Scooby-Doo.
Yes, yeah.
Did they have that? Did you see that?
No, so that must be a separate Mystery Island.
Mystery Island 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not as good.
Scooby-Doo Mystery Island 2.
Exactly, that's the one. That's the one I was going to. But yeah, Mystery Island, I swam around the whole thing.
What?
Because it's that small. I'll show you a video later on, but
wow.
It's that small that you can... It's not small enough
What
that
a flex.
it's like... Oh, bro. Big flex. Big fucking flex. But yeah, I just chucked the old goggles on, went free diving. Ooh, no bullshark could catch me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was so good. I loved it. And I've been saying to all my mates, like, everyone pretty much, like, we got to go on a cruise. Like, because that's... I went with my family, but this was the first cruise I've been on over 18. Like, I'm 22 now, and I could do everything the cruise had to offer, you know?
Yeah.
But I was just drinking every day. I
of
was
course.
fucking hammered every day. I was...
What were your go-to drinks? From start to finish, like, what were you initially going for?
We had drink packages.
Nice.
So you just scan your card and you get a drink.
Nice.
So I was getting the most expensive cocktail every time. My favorites were the Illusion and the Sex on the Beach.
Yeah, both great cocktails.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. I can't stay away from a pina colada, but bro, a pina colada, it just hits, bro. A coconut is just my thing.
I have to be in the mood for a pina colada.
Okay.
I can't just have a pina colada.
I could neck a liter of it right now.
You reckon you could? You reckon if I pulled it out and just said, Doxy, you do this, swung
If
it
I
over?
wasn't doing my whole no drinking thing, I would probably already have had a pina colada today.
You just bump one already.
Yeah, I woke up with it next to my bed.
It's already ready-made fucking salt around the rim.
Yeah. Alright, so you were drinking mostly cocktails. Did you try martinis?
Yeah, I tried a Cosmopolitan.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like
didn't
it. I didn't like it.
Very bougie type of like
It's
olive, like it's like olive if it was a drink, you know what I mean?
yeah, it's not. It's just not my style. Like I was drinking it, and because someone bought it for me, and I was like, all right, well I'm gonna have to drink this. Someone bought it for me. But I'm sipping on it, and as I'm sipping on it, I go, well, how can anyone enjoy this?
Yeah.
With alcohol, yeah, fair enough. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to enjoy it anyway. Like, let's be honest with ourselves, bro. Like, come on, everybody's got to be honest here. You're not
and 9 times
enjoying-
out of 10 is bragging, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's bragging. You're pulling yourself up here, bro. Like, relax, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy it.
Okay,
Fucking-
I would be the same. I would say the same, 100%.
I'd never order it for myself, and I'd never get someone to, like, if I saw someone buying me a drink at the bar and he was ordering a Cosmo, I'd fucking smack him from behind and tell me no. Get me a Sex on the Beach.
Nice. I tried a bunch of martinis. I tried and martinis are shit too. Don't get me wrong. They're just like this yuck, bro. It's just yuck. I had like hazelnut ones, coffee ones, I had like,
bro.
I couldn't even tell you every malt flavored martini. I think there was 140 something martinis, and most cruises have it anyway.
150.
But like, they're just ass, bro. I need like lolly water.
You mentioned, You mentioned a coffee one, but see, I've seen those done before, and they just look filth every time. It just looks like a septic tank when everything's floated to the top, and there's a little piece of shit in the middle that they consider a coffee bean. Fucking disgusting, bro.
Oh, bro, there's like espresso ones. There's all these different flavored coffees. Some of them are just like tequila or vodka, whatever the martini is, with like a couple coffee beans just in the bottom. And they're still rock solid, bro. They look like fake.
Bro. What the fuck's the point of that, bro? What is the actual point?
It's just vodka with coffee bean. It's good, but
I'm
it's
gonna
shit.
look up a coffee martini.
Oh, bro. That's the best part about a cruise is probably one of the best parts is the alcohol package. You have to get the alcohol package. Yeah.
If you don't get the alcohol package, you're gonna spend minimum. I know for a fact because I spent over and ended up paying for drinks as well.
Wow.
Because I was getting my family had drink packages, and I thought to myself, I'm not gonna drink that much. You know, I'm just gonna kick back, have a good time. So I brought a couple thousand on board. And by the end of it, that was fucking see you later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. But that was due to, the casino on board.
Oh, you went to the casino, huh?
Bro, that was...
I stayed away when I went.
Did you?
Yeah.
What boat
It's
did
too
you go on?
dangerous. I went on the P&O Majestic,
right. Yeah. We went on the Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And the Adventure has actually, I don't know how big the casino was on Majestic, but the Adventure casino, it was from, what is these sides again?
We'll go top and bottom.
No, left and right.
Yeah,
on the
okay,
ship.
east
I
and
don't
west.
know. I forgot the names.
Yeah. There's the left wing and right wing, I think that's what
Something
they call
like that. It stretched from one side to the other, and it was about say a third of the ship spanning.
Wow.
It was only one level, but a third of the ship spanning.
Wow.
And inside, there was machines galore, of course, because they want people to fucking pump their money into them.
Yeah.
But
tax free, duty
yeah,
free.
exactly, yeah, exactly. But
Fuck,
there
what a
was also
business.
tables,
Yeah.
like roulette, blackjack, Texas Hold'em. And I was having so much fun every night on the blackjack tables.
Yeah.
Win or lose, bro. I was just having fun. Man.
Yeah.
But there's a thing in the casino there. I've never seen this before at the Star or anything like that. I'm sure it's a thing, but I've never seen it. When you're playing blackjack, you put $10 on a space on the table called Lucky Ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, essentially how it works is, if they deal out
Oh, 2 queens?
2 queens.
Yeah.
If you get 2 queen of hearts and the dealer gets a blackjack, forget the blackjack hand at play, you lose your money. But that $10 is 1,000 to 1.
Oh,
so it's
really?
10 grand if you get it.
Oh,
and I was sitting next to
really?
a guy who got it.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, apparently it happened 4
Wow.
times on the ship. Bro, the ship was actually paying. I won the major.
What?
I wasn't playing much, but I still won the major.
Yeah.
And people were winning grands,
Wow.
I was filthy actually. I jumped off a machine, lady jumps on $20, bang, she pops the $7 grand. I'm
Just bash it, right?
pull her out of the chair. I'm like,
Overboard.
no one gonna see a thing.
That's sick. What about your room? What was your room like? Did you get a balcony room?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like a must do in my opinion. A balcony
Yeah,
room.
we did. We got a connecting balcony room because we
Nice.
had 2 rooms next to each other, and the balconies were huge. But the only problem I had is that you can't smoke on the balconies.
Oh, I didn't give a fuck to be honest.
I mean, I
Like,
didn't care either. My dad. Was
It's
still
too
smoking.
hard not to do that.
But the problem was that they had cameras. They couldn't. Their camera there couldn't see our balconies, but they still had them.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, it's a balcony. What?
Yeah. And it's the ocean.
It's the ocean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who's really going to complain here?
Yeah.
They really shafted the smokers on the ship.
Yeah, they always
Like,
do. They always do.
Well, they did, but that's the thing. I've been on other ships before where half of what they do is they split it down the middle. This side smokers, this side not.
Oh, I've never
Yeah.
even heard of that. That's crazy.
And obviously not inside, but everything that's outside, they split it.
Wow.
But on these ships, they have designated smoking sections, and there's only fucking 3.
Yeah.
know,
And there's probably 9, 10 chairs, maybe 12 if
You're
that.
lucky if
Yeah.
you get 9, bro. You're very lucky if you get 9.
Yeah.
After the nightclub, for example, everyone's pumping it at the nightclub. I was up there every night, surprisingly, even though I
nice.
didn't want to be.
Yeah.
My sister was going up, so I was like, I'm gonna go protect or whatever. Fuck me dead. But I had some fun, man. I had some real good fun. But after the nightclubs where you go down to the smokers, you're having a drink, and you want to have a cigarette, and you're like, fuck, I also want to have a seat because my legs.
Of course,
are
you've been
fucked.
boogieing, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been on board boogieing.
You've been on the boogie, bro, and you're shaking.
You've been
as
on the
well.
boogie board, bro. How do you boogie board it?
Oh god, yeah.
I feel
Well,
ya.
it really was.
Yeah, I feel ya. They do get shafted, but I get it. You gotta punish these smokers, bro. You gotta punish them,
Bro,
man.
but why though? What are they punishing us for?
Because you gotta punish someone.
Yeah,
you know what I
true. You
mean?
have to
Someone's
make
gotta be
someone
the
look
wrong
like
end.
the donkey.
Someone's gotta be the wrong end of the stick.
That's right.
And it's how we ended racism, bro. we started pushing it onto smokers. Even when I was smoking, bro. Even when I was smoking a pack of durries a day.
Yeah.
The Winfield Optimum Blues every day from 7-Eleven. sometimes you get to like 6, 7 o'clock at night, you buy a second pack. You know what I mean? Like I loved my durries.
Yeah.
If I seen someone having a durry,
too, by the way.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. But if I seen someone having a durry, I'm like, you fucking joker. You know what I mean? Like, you absolute joker. What are you doing smoking?
What are you doing with
Like,
your life,
look
bro?
at how disgusting it looks. You just joker. And then I'd have a cigarette.
And you have one as well. Right next to him,
Yeah.
too. Borrow his lighter if anything.
Mind if I have a cigarette? Yeah, I know. So you're still smoking on the durries? Like you have any plan of getting off them? Because I remember you eased off them a little bit for a while.
I did. The main thing that smoking, kind of just helps me with a little bit at the moment is attentiveness.
Yeah.
Habits
and
things like
exactly.
That. Like I'm not, as I said, I only brought 2 cigarettes with me today, so that's like the cap.
Yeah.
For while I'm here, sort of thing, which is good.
Yeah.
So I know people who would literally every 5 minutes they wouldn't even be able to sit.
If I was still a smoker, there'd be an exhaust fan in here.
Yeah, I know that for sure, bro. I know that for a fucking fact.
In fact, they probably wouldn't, so I could smoke more when I'm not smoking.
Breathe it in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like nangs, bro. It was like cigarette nangs. Yeah.
Don't bring up nangs, bro. Please don't bring up nangs.
Yeah. I have seen a very positive trend with people giving up at the moment. I really have. Like, it's been a very... 2020, 2023 was meant to be a beautiful year for a lot of reasons, and I think that everyone is captivating on that.
Well, yeah. Oh, dude, we haven't even fucking touched the peak of the iceberg yet, but with this year is a very important year.
Yeah.
Like, more and more people need to sort of wake up, in a sense. I hate using that terminology, wake up, but it's true.
Well, it's a great way to describe what
it is.
It's
but I hate
another just in case any of the closed-minded type people that haven't opened their ideas to that word yet, it's another way of saying like people need to take advantage and realize some things that they may have never really realized before.
That's the thing. People are so, but that's not their fault. Like, there is reasons for that. And it's mainly you're a product of your society, you're a product of your culture.
Yeah.
But that's in a truer sense than how we view it now. We view it as like, the culture was made this way, so we're this way. But no, it was manufactured this way, so we are this way.
Yeah.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah. And it's such a airhead conversation, but it is so real. It is the realest thing we have in society today,
bro.
and that is that everything else is fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, bro. It fucking is.
Yeah. We've been programmed. Program is one of those words that I don't like using.
It's programmed because it's true. It's programmed is true,
but it's such. I'm a devil's advocate for everything that's said on this podcast because I understand what it's like to have the mindset I have now and remember what it was like to not have it. And hearing words like we've been programmed is such a like conspiracy head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like tinfoil hat type thing to say.
But that's the thing. All that. Okay. Like, you look at that stuff, right? The conspiracy head tinfoil hat. I don't put myself in that group because those people take it too far. But everything is a psyop. Everything's a psychological operation that they play people on each other. So you look at stuff like QAnon, for example. That's all made by the CIA anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which took a while for me to learn that.
Exactly.
I was actually backing QAnon for a while.
Yeah. A lot of people were, bro. My views may seem like I align with them, but no, not at all. Because what that is just another psyop for people to fucking dedicate their whole lives to it, essentially. And there's filtered truth in there, but most of it's just bullshit. And you're going to be reading that for the rest of your life and going, what's going on?
On the last podcast I filmed, which hasn't come out yet, but it will come out, this would come out the weekend after. So this is for next Sunday.
Right.
There's one for tomorrow in our time.
Yeah.
And we talked about the Matrix and how the theory for the Matrix is what I'm pretty sure me and you have discussed before. But as they said in the Matrix, 99% of the program would always work. There's always that 1% of people that couldn't align with the Matrix. There was 1% that we couldn't get it to work with until we came up with the perfect solution. And then the whole movie is about them breaking out of the Matrix and beating the war against the machines. And then the 1% of people are now successfully out of the Matrix. And then it's like, is that not what the program they've created to make you think is? Like, they've created that extra little bit to make you think you've escaped, but you're still in the Matrix. Yeah. And that's kind of like what we're talking about with the whole QAnon thing. Yeah, exactly. They make that little thing to get everyone that wants to be on the side of this is all bullshit to align themselves with. And then like, yes, we are learning the truth. And it's like, jokers, bro. Jokers.
Not really. really.
Yeah.
Not really. But that's true. It's very true. I couldn't have put it better myself. Like, if you let me put it better myself, it would have taken 15 minutes. But good thing you took over. Yeah, no, it's so true. But it happens on both sides. Like, you look at the social justice warriors on the left, and I'm not aligned with either of them, as I said, but you look at them on the left as well, and they think what they're doing is right. They think that this cultural reform and critical theory and all that sort of stuff is really going to help us, but in reality, no. That's backwards. They're both backwards, but I think the left is going a little bit further backwards at the moment.
Yeah.
Their audio, like what they're doing.
You'd be mad to align yourself with the left. You'd have to be mad.
You'd be mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental.
Yeah, you'd have to be mad. But
So-
that reminds me of the way you're saying it reminds me of what's recently happened in the New South Wales political election. They did this thing on 7 News where they had to do rapid fire questions. It was Albanese versus the other premier. I have no idea what this cunt's name is.
I don't know who you're talking about, yeah.
But he's like a very who's that? David Beckham looking guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So them two are doing rapid fire questions. Would you make weed legal? They both go, no. Would you make this legal? No. Would you change this? No. Would you? And they did like the most important arguments that we have in Australia at the moment, and they both said no. And it's like, so what are we fighting Labor and Liberal for?
Exactly.
You know,
two wings of the same eagle.
yeah, perfect analogy.
They don't run shit, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like like forget Australia because that's little fish, bro. We're nothing.
Yeah.
Even though we're one of the best countries in the world, and I'd rather
The land of opportunity.
No, exactly. I wouldn't rather live anywhere else besides here. America is the powerhouse of the world. That's if you want, bro. Paint the world with the American flag.
Well, they've just rearranged the colours into different symbols. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a puzzle, and when you put it all together, it's just a big American flag.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, I knew we were gonna get to this side of thinking. All right, but let's just try and rewind a little bit. Cause
I was gonna say we were talking about something else prior.
Well, I want to talk more about like the holiday you've just been on first, and that's like, I was curious as to why you didn't like some islands over other islands, and why you thought some islands were better than others.
Dude, fuck me dead. Because I've been on these cruises before, specifically to these places. Not every cruise I've been on was there, but a couple of them were. And with Santo, that was actually my first time going to Santo. Santo was just shit.
Okay.
We got off the boat, and there was like 50. I get it, like they got to make their money and whatever, but there was like 50,000 people surrounding us. Yeah. And they were all like, "We'll take you here, we'll take you there, we'll take you." And last time we went to a place, my parents had been to Santo before actually, and they were like, "Last time we came to Santo, we just jumped in $20 a person in a taxi, and they took us to the Blue Lagoon for free, and you get in for free." Now all those places like the Champagne Bay, Blue Lagoon, which are all beautiful places by the way, they charge you $20 a person to get in. And I mean, I get it, it's with the community and whatever, but it was just like we had a big like a big group of us, and they were trying to charge us $500 to take us out and then bring us back. Who knows how much they would have charged to bring us back as well, but then $20 a person to get into all these places.
Yeah.
So we didn't do it there. We did it at Mystery Island. But Noumea, I don't understand the draw of Noumea. First of all, when we were going there 2 weeks earlier, 3 people got ripped apart by sharks.
Oh, fuck.
And they closed all the beaches down, so no swimming at Noumea.
Wow. That's like 15% of the entire people that get eaten by sharks a year in one go.
In one go, bro.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's like 11 people a year maybe on average get eaten by a shark.
Something like that, but it's getting worse. Like they're getting ballsier, bro.
Yeah, COVID, it affected the sharks. There was no tourists, bro. They're starving. They're
hungry.
Yeah.
They're not these sharks that comes to the shore. They're not apex predators. They're just the fucking opportunists, bro. They're coming.
They're the guys who want sunnies. They're the fucking tourist fucking sharks. Nice.
Oh, bro.
Is that one of the reasons why you didn't like the whole like the destinations as well? Because of the fact that they've had this break from tourism, and now it's like buy this wristband.
A little
was
bit,
it like that?
Yeah, but that's not what it was like at Port Vila or Santo. Port Vila and Santo were lovely. The people were lovely. Everything was great. But Noumea, that's my main problem. I don't have a problem with any of the other islands, but Noumea, it's just a shitty French colony that they fucking built and left and never maintained for like 100 years. And apparently they did it all up now, but I didn't get off the boat. That's how fucking snub nose I was. I was like, I don't want to get off the fucking boat.
I will not step foot
on
no French colony.
Oui. But I just went straight to the casino all day, bro. Just pumped it.
Trying to make back the money from last night. I'll come back to Noumea one day.
I'm sure I'll be here again. Oh man, fuck yeah.
Well, recently I went to Bali, bro, and I had the same experience. I didn't like it, but I didn't like the fact that they had so many people that were pushing money, like just pushing, gimme. One lady said to us, I'll never forget this for the rest of my life, I am not leaving till you buy a bracelet. Like, I will not leave. And I'm like, fuck off. I was literally like, fuck off.
That's weird.
You've got shit. I'm sorry. Go annoy some other fucking couple.
Was she saying it as like a sales tactic almost? Like, I'm not going to leave until you buy this bracelet sort of thing?
No. I mean, like...
She was literally
planting her foot down.
Yeah, like, I'm going to fucking protest this.
Yeah, protest. Yeah.
I'm going to tie myself to this tree over here and not leave until you buy it.
And it's like, there would have been 1,000 people on the beach and there would have been 100 sales reps for these shit. It's all shit too. And it's like, you want to buy some shit because you want some shit to take home, you know? And we're buying a couple posters and a couple handmade things and this and that. And this lady, want to buy this bracelet? No, thank you. Well, first, how much? And then this is what pisses me off when I go to a destination. How much? $50 Australian is the equivalent to what they're asking for. Yeah. And it's like, bitch, I'm not even going to try and barter with you. Like, you can get fucked. Like, you want $50? I don't spend $50 at home.
No, exactly.
Like, as if I'm going to give $50 for shit.
What's the draw?
And then it's like, negotiate, and then it's like she's trying to push down to the 20. No, 20. And it's like, bro, if you had have said $1, I would have hesitated. And then it's just some other people would come with something that we want. Like, my ex at the time wanted to get some henna tattoo. Sure, we'll draw that on us. Some hand carved bit of metal or timber, I'll buy that. This lady said, how come you buy everything off everyone else? Well, I want it. Yeah. No. And they're like, all right, enough. And she's like, no, I will not leave until you buy something from me. And I ended up just being like, fuck off, bro.
What are you going to say about it?
And that's what I'm wondering. Did you have a similar experience in that regard?
But not to the point of like how bad it was for you. Yeah. Like, she's like, I'm not going to leave.
Yeah.
We just, that was, the only experience was like, that was at Santo. Everything else was beautiful. Mystery Island is like so cheap, by the way. Yeah. Like my sister got her, actually, I don't know if it was Mystery. It was one of them, but she got her hair braided.
Yeah.
And it was like $5 they charged.
Yeah, that's sick. That's good. That's holiday money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then my mum was like, oh, like, I know it's not much, but she was like, oh, well, I'm not giving you 5, I'll give you 10 for it.
Because, that's a good thing about a holiday, bro. When you are able to give more than they're asking for.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they're being fair, and now you're being fair.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and especially if they're being more than fair, then you just realize, like, holy shit, these people really have no idea about the greed that we're so consumed within these fucking mega cities, these capitalist cities. Right. But yeah, it's just crazy. It's a big eye opener.
Speaking of them not being aware, like I said to one of my tour guides, who was a legend, the tour guides I got in Bali was some of the best I've ever had in any country. He was saying all this shit. I was like, what are you going to do tonight? It was already something like 8 p.m. It was dark out. And he's like, oh, I got to go back to my yard, drop off the car, wash it, drive, walk back home or get my friend to pick me up. And then it would have been like 11:30 by the time we got home. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you work hard. Like, so what are you going to do when you get home? Like, he said his kid's going to be asleep. I was like, what do you watch on Netflix? And he's just like, on Netflix? The fuck? And I'm like, geez, you don't have Netflix? Bro, I was like, well, what do you use for a streaming platform? And he's like, no comprehende. You know what I mean? Like, what are you saying to me?
Yeah, he's like, what, is it alien language or something?
So what's the program you use on your, because he has a phone, what do you watch on your device that has all the movies and TV shows? And he's like, movies. I'm like, bro, you know what a movie is? Like, a movie is like a story captivated on film. You can watch a story. And he's like, oh, movie. I've never seen one, but I've heard of this. Oh man, like part of me changed forever. Like Like, you don't even know what it is.
No,
Like, how do you not know what a movie is? Like, and that changed me forever. Like, we are so separated from these countries. So separated.
100%. It's crazy. It's an eye opener, as I said. And when you go to places like, because originally this cruise, I'll give a little bit of backstory to the cruise. This was booked pre-COVID.
Yeah, okay.
So we had this booked in the eve of 2019.
Wow.
And 2020 comes around, and obviously we all know what happened.
We got
the big COVID plant that came.
Yeah.
COVID. And yeah, we had it booked for, I think it was February or March to go in 2020. And
and that was right when it hit too, wasn't it?
It was right when it hit, perfectly right when they did the first lockdowns.
Yeah.
The first lockdowns was right then. And the cruise company called my mum and said, yeah, listen, obviously you're not going to go on this fucking cruise because that Ruby Princess thing just happened. The cruise came in and 3,000 passengers got off.
Got out and spread it, eh?
Just a big bomb. You want to talk about a COVID bomb? That was a COVID bomb.
Yeah, that was so crazy at the time, eh?
It was fucking nuts, eh?
Everyone's like everyone's locked down.
Literally.
And then there's been like 5 cases, bro. And everyone's like, bro, zombies, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everyone's
exactly.
freaking out. And then like 3,000 members just go into society.
No masks, nothing, just coughing on everybody.
Catching trains and buses and taxis.
Spitting on their hand, fucking chugging it on the thing.
Everyone wants to go get a coffee when they get off the boat. Everyone wants to go get some Maccas. Oh, that was a crazy time.
Yeah. But yeah, that was when we had booked, and they basically told us, no, you're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years later, we finally did it, but that was booked for Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, okay.
And I was really excited for Papua New Guinea.
I haven't done that one either.
I was just, like, the thing with me, I love my history and stuff like that, you know that, obviously.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Australian military history there, because, you know, the Kokoda truck, obviously, but they also have, like, a lot of different stuff there, like the planes that crashed in the ocean there and the ships that were blown up by the Americans after the war was over. But the main thing that I was told by somebody on the ship that I really needed to see was where they made the Japanese made the prisoners of war, and the native Papua New Guineans pull in their ships by hand, big Japanese warships, and pull them into the caves at Papua New Guinea.
What?
And then what they also used to do was they made the natives dig out holes in the mountains, which you can still see, put up bars, and they used to leave prisoners of war in. Yeah, prisoners of war.
Wow, full pirate shit, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
that's mad.
And that's why the Japanese, when you go there on cruise ships, apparently what they do, the natives ask, "Is there any Japanese on board?"
No way.
I swear to God. Apparently that's what they do. They come up to people and they go, "Is there any Japanese on board?" Like, you know, if there are, they're not allowed here. Yeah, literally, bro. Literally, they fucking hate them.
Well.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, they committed some atrocities in those times, bro.
I know the Japanese did one of the biggest atrocities out of most countries in the world.
And the rape of Nanking.
Yeah. What can you explain to me the rape of Nanking? I've heard of it recently. I can't remember what it was again.
Essentially, it was the occupation of China, certain parts of China.
Yeah. Nanking's a city.
It's a city.
Yeah.
It's a place. A province or whatever you want to call it. But the Japanese came in because at the time China was lined up with America, the Allies in World War II. And Japan really just wanted to establish
big dick energy.
Yeah, dominance in the region, same as Germany.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't want to get into history of World War II, bro. I'll fucking go insane. But I'll explain Nanking. Basically, Japanese came in and they fucking destroyed that place. But it was worse than destroying it. The atrocities are on another level. You can't compare this to Soviet atrocities. You can't compare this to German atrocities. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
You can maybe compare it to like Cambodian atrocities, but it was disgusting.
That's where they talk about the rivers ran red with blood.
Yeah.
Like that's I think how many million of people would you reckon they killed? I think it was like
I don't even think they killed that many millions of people at that time. Obviously, the numbers will be truly hidden. You know? But I don't even think it was a lot of people that were killed, essentially. I think it was more the actual fact. That's why they call it the rape of Nanking, because they raped that many women.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought it was just a metaphor for fucking it up.
For fucking it up, too. Yeah, that is also the case. But they did a lot of really bad shit.
I know that what they would do in one part, they would get like... I heard 2 things on a recent podcast. One of the things they would do, they would go to like a royal commissioner or someone from China, and they would be like, listen, we're going to fuck this place up. Yep. If you join with us and use ally, then you'll be sweet. And then they'll be like, oh, all right, we'll fucking join with this. Then they just kill that cunt.
Yeah.
What a traitor.
Yeah.
They just kill
exactly.
this cunt.
Exactly.
And
Because
they'll-
they value honor.
Yeah, but they're going to kill him anyway, too.
They're always going to kill him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're always going to kill him. Like, it's not, he doesn't have a choice. It's just like, kill me now, bro. That's
And then instead of going to Valhalla, now he's just banished from every existence.
That's it, bro.
Yeah.
He's done.
And then another thing they would do, they would take like some of the valued members of, say, the party or no, it wasn't the Communist Party at the time, but someone from the families and that. And then they would lay them down and they would put planks of wood on top of them. And then the Japanese would have tables and they would eat dinner on top of these planks of wood. And they would just crush these cunts like for all their meal until they'd be all dead.
But what you're describing is where I guess like people at home would be imagining a little table, right? No, they were big fuck off ivory. And,
Where like the army would eat.
the whole military would eat, the whole platoon would eat. And feeds on feeds, like big pigs on the table and stuff like that. So
And they just get crushed.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, so they have done some fucking horrific shit.
And the thing is, too, people always... I can get into this topic, bro. You know, I can get into every topic for hours.
Yeah, I love it.
But
I love it.
But when they dropped the atomic bombs, I don't necessarily agree with that. But you have to realize Japan wasn't going to stop. There was no surrender. The only surrender for them was unconditional surrender, which is what happened.
Yeah.
Which means that we have no choice but to surrender.
Yeah.
Because they didn't surrender after the first nuclear bomb went off.
Yeah.
In Hiroshima.
It was Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't,
Hiroshima.
the same shit.
What's the second one?
Nagasaki.
Nagasaki. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the first one went off, they were like, "Fuck it, bro, do another one if you want."
Yeah.
And they did do another one, and they're like, "Oh, okay, you're being serious."
It's fucking crazy. Well, you can tell how ruthless they were when they came to Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They came without enough fuel to get home.
Exactly. They were like, "Fuck it." They're like, "This is a invasion force to stay."
Yeah.
You know, but like they're because with them, you know, kamikaze and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted.
And they knew that going in. They're like, "We're sending you to Australia with a one-way ticket."
America.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, America. And you're going to blow yourselves up when you get there. Yep. They're the original ISIS.
They are the original.
They are the original.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everyone got their ideas from
That's where their ideology came from.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. That makes so much sense.
It connects.
Yeah, just crazy. But as you said it perfectly, they would not have stopped without those nukes.
They wouldn't have. No. They just, there was no give up in them. Even still, you look at the stories about the soldiers left on those little islands in the Philippines that thought the war was still going 40, 50 years later.
Really?
Yeah, and then someone would go there and they'd still have their gun loaded and cleaned and shined and maintained.
What?
Ready.
And they're like old people.
Old people, and they're ready, and then the people would go, the war ended like fucking 40 years ago, and you go, oh, fuck.
Oh no, he'd have to do the fucking suicide thing, wouldn't he? Oh no. Oh no. Alright, how did we get to this? We came back from Papua New Guinea. We wanted to go to Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, that's originally...
That was where the cruise was originally going to go. That's the backstory.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm glad it ended up where it did, because obviously everything happens how it's meant to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But that was so good, and I'm so keen for the next one.
Where's the next one going to be?
This year, it has to be.
It's going to be this year. Wow.
I'm hoping. I want to do some sort. I have offers from the Navy to do like electronic technician roles and maritime technician roles and stuff like that.
Wow.
And I want to take up on it. Like I really want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them's a submariner role.
Wow.
So, like one of the new submarines.
Yeah.
And I really do want to do it. So I want to get all the fun stuff out of the way this year. I want to go on another cruise.
I love the way you say words, and it's like I don't even know what the word is that you're saying, and then I think about it for a bit, and I just say it differently. Like I would say submariner. You know when you say submariner?
Submariner, right?
And then you say like Hiroshima, and I'm like, oh, and Hiroshima. And I'm like, oh, he just said that. Sorry for interrupting, but
no, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. I do that too sometimes when I hear it from more intellectual people.
You know what, kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I want to hopefully do. But obviously, I got to pass basic training, and for that, I got to get a little bit fitter. And sort of hone in some Because surprisingly, I'm really like I got a good lung capacity, but obviously the smoking doesn't fucking help.
Yeah. Apparently. Allegedly
It does.
That's one of my favorite podcasts. When they say facts, they go, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Shout out to that podcast. There'll be a link in the description below. That's a great podcast.
I'll leave it as well. Yeah, but what was I saying?
Saying how you want to train for this job.
Yeah. And I do, genuinely do. But I want to get, so I go officially back to work on Monday.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited for.
Nice.
And from there, it's just going to be hardcore saving because I blew through so much money on the cruise. I'm not I'm not proud of it.
It's a holiday for you.
Exactly, bro. Yeah. But it was only a 2 week.
Holidays are meant to come from like a break from working hard and then end in regret.
Yeah. Well, that's the only thing I regretted was how much money I spent. It was filthy.
Yeah,
but,
nice.
So yeah, back to saving, and then I want to go mid-year sometime. But I want to do something different. I don't want to just go to the islands this time. I want to go maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking like a nice Australian trip around Australia would be cool.
That would be alright,
So you do the islands, or like Morton Island and stuff like that, and Fraser Island, whatever. And then you go around the top and go around and come back down through Tasmanian Strait and whatever. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. My next cruise is 2024. I'm doing Alaska. Cruise for Alaska.
Oh, no way.
I'm very excited.
So next year, what month?
I think we want to do it around the time of the Northern Lights, so that would be around October.
The Aurora Borealis.
Which would be sick. Because I want to fly to... Original plan was I want to fly to America, do some shit in there, then go to Canada, and then meet up with my family in Alaska.
Right.
But I don't know if America is really insightful for me as I get a little bit older. Like, I would love to see some sites that people tell me about, like the Grand Canyon and...
Oh, yeah.
Or I'd love to go to Texas at least, and then it's not too far from where I want to go after. It is, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's still a main airport.
Yeah.
And then I can check out all the comedy things that, the mothership that Joe Rogan's just built.
Yeah.
I could check out Kill Tony, another mad comedy show. I could just enjoy some time in the area that I hear so much about.
Yeah.
And then that's all I would want to do there. Entertainment. Then go to Canada, go snowboarding. And then do the cruise in Alaska.
Yeah. That'd be very fun.
Yeah.
Who are you going with?
My entire family is going. So my grandparents are taking like
Dude, that's
28 people so far. And there's room for anyone else to like bring a friend a girlfriend. What? Yeah.
Wait, did you say 28 people?
Yeah.
Like in your immediate group almost.
Yeah.
28.
Immediate group, yeah. I could be butchering it. It could be 24.
But that's still more than 20,
but I think
bro.
it's
That's
like 28.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's a big group.
What ship do you know?
I have no idea. This is all international shit. I got no idea.
Right, yeah.
My grandparents would know, yeah.
That sounds awesome. But the cruise, it's not really, because you're going to fly first.
Yeah.
Now you're going to sail back.
Nah. So we're going to fly. They're all flying to Alaska and they want to... No, they're flying to Vancouver and then just jump off for Vancouver and go to Alaska.
Right. From Vancouver, cruise to Alaska?
Nah, so either fly or drive because Vancouver's on the border, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But is it on the border of America or border of Alaska? Maybe on the border of America.
From America all the way through Canada, you can drive to Alaska.
Okay.
You can even drive to Russia.
They could be doing one of the two, driving or flying. I don't know which one. They're definitely doing one of the two.
Obviously.
And then they're doing like a week tour around Alaska and then a 2-week cruise and another week. But I'm not interested, to be honest, too much in that.
Right.
I want to meet up with them in Alaska because they're going to do a trip down to the lakes where the bears catch the fish as they jump out from one side of the lake to the other, and the bears just sit there and they catch them.
Like the big Kodiak bears that just like grab the salmon.
The salmon, that's it. Yeah. And then they teach the cubs how to do it. So it's like it's a big thing. It's a great thing to see.
That's awesome.
It's a very tourist hot spot. I'd like to see that, but the rest of Alaska, it's just like...
Oh, no, you'd be surprised, bro.
I know it'll be beautiful, but I'm going to go on the cruise there anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not you? Why not captivate on that time I have? That's the third time dropping the captivate word.
Captivate.
I never use that word.
I like it.
I like it too. But yeah, I'm just going to take advantage of having the time off, being far away enough that I can do all these close things and take off like 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah. I'll be in long service then too.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh really? What?
Yeah, I'm very close. On the last podcast, we discussed the fact that we're like fuck, we're almost at 10 years since we started our
shit.
trade. Yeah. Yeah, we're very
Dude,
close.
Fuck me, dude. That's crazy.
We're between 8 and 9 years at the moment.
Almost at long service, but that's
Yeah.
like hearing that makes me think of my grandma, for example, bro, who's got like years of long service. Fuck me, dude.
No, I'm getting there.
That's crazy. No, good stuff.
How do I get to here? I brushed past you saying something before that I wanted to go into a little bit, and that was, you want to train to get into this job, but I know you've also been doing some exercise lately. What have you been starting to do?
I do a lot of swimming. Oh, bro, swimming's so good.
Swimming's the best.
It's so good. I love it. Not even
Yeah.
for the fact that it's good for you, like personally, like it's one of the best exercises you can do. I just love swimming.
Yeah,
I just think it's so fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know how people go, I love the gym, I love pumping it and stuff like that. Yeah, cool, whatever. Like, I get that, inject more of that. But fucking with swimming, it's just like a genuine, like, feeling of joy almost.
Yeah.
And I guess people can find that in any facet of life.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
For me, swimming is just another
I'm
level.
so glad you've been into swimming, bro, because I've been trying not to be too like I don't know how to describe this, but whenever I pick up something new, I come on the podcast and I talk about it a lot. And swimming's one of those things that I've started to do, and I'm trying not to be too like, swimming's the best, because not everyone I sit down with or everyone listening's going to relate. But I'm so glad you started swimming, because I started swimming too, and I'm feeling exactly the same way. You burn 5 times more calories swimming than
Something
you do
like
if
that,
any other exercise above water. Just that statistic alone is enough for me to keep swimming for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Keeps me fit, keeps me in check. I've got my own personal goals. They're not too hard to beat every week because you're in the water.
Exactly.
You can take your own time.
Yep.
And I always thought I could swim, but now that I'm learning how to do it again, I'm learning how much better I can be at it. There's many little techniques, bro,
it's
with
crazy.
the way you can tilt your head, how much air you let in, where to keep your fingers how high and above the water. All these little things, bro. It's sick. And I can only freestyle. I can't even do anything else.
Oh, no?
Yeah, I can't do the breaststroke. I don't know how to do it.
Really?
I will learn it, but I don't know how to do it yet.
It's not hard. Not hard at all. It's really, I taught myself for the most part. I did do swimming lessons when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I did the intermediate, so I learned some of the stuff that was in that as well. But most of it, you just teach yourself.
Okay.
It's not hard.
Nice.
But no, freestyle's the best for you anyway.
Oh, it is?
There's nothing that matches it.
What about, I can imagine, is the butterfly the one where you scoop out of the water?
So butterfly's the one where your arms come over.
Yeah,
And then when
okay.
they come over, they splash back down and you kick at the same time like a...
Oh, you kick at the same time.
Yeah, like you're pushing off sort of thing.
I can imagine that would be so good for you physique-wise.
yeah,
Like,
dude,
you
definitely.
get strong.
Definitely.
You get wide. You get, like, a massive shoulder width.
Well, it's working the whole body. And even when you're just sitting in the water treading, you're
Yeah.
still working out. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's like, it's next level. And like just walking back and forth. Because the pool, there's like a community pool. And one of them's like a proper lap pool, but it's not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
So...
You hear about Stanhope? That's where I've been swimming. At Stanhope.
No, not the leisure centre.
Okay.
So it is in Stanhope where I live, but it's not...
Oh, you're talking about, like, Roxburgh, then.
yeah,
You're
like
going to
those
Roxburgh.
places. Yeah, like we've got...
Oh, I know where you're going. You're going to... What did we used to call it? I know the one near your house. What did we used to call that? Oh, man. It was such a spot, bro, when we were younger, where we had barbecues and all that. Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
one- that's the one where I'm going now.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's so good. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone should do swimming because, as I said, it trains the whole body, but it conditions the whole body. That's the word I was looking for, conditioning. I just want to condition myself for this training.
Yeah,
'Cause, bro,
nice.
I've talked to people and some people say, oh, basic training's easy, basic training's hard. But I don't care if people think it's easy or hard. For me personally, it's just like a mental thing, got to get through that. And then once I'm conditioned enough, or at least I believe myself to be conditioned enough, then I'll go for it.
Yeah, nice.
Um,
It's mostly, you gotta,
So, yeah.
any activity's the same, where you gotta convince yourself you can do it.
Yeah.
And you have to have proof that you can convince yourself you can do it by doing things you've done before.
exactly.
So swimming's a perfect one for it. And I love it. I started off in the pool just so I could stretch. I would just do like 3 laps. I'm just moving my arms underwater, stretching them all out, stretching my legs, doing like the tiger positions and stances and all that. And I just was never sore the next day. It didn't matter how far I ran, how hard I trained, if I did boxing, sparring, gym. I was sweet. And I ended with a steam room, sauna.
Oh, dude, that's the best. That's why I want to get a pass for either the leisure centre or something similar, so I can use their steam and sauna rooms.
Yeah, it's super cheap, bro. I have the membership there, and because they also have a gym. So I have the gym membership that I have access to great hours, perfect hours. And then they also have the pools, the sauna, the steam room. You can use the tennis courts, the basketball courts. They have, I think, that one where you like hit it against a wall or something, like badminton. And I think they might have a squash or something as well. All these classes you can do if you want to do them.
Right.
and it's like probably $24 a week.
Really?
And that's
the whole access to the whole
gold membership, everything.
But yeah, I've researched that. I've heard about the gold membership. But you just said that you can only use the gym at certain times with a certain membership, or is it?
I think that it's with all access at all times. No matter if you have the gym membership, it's extras for shit like the pools and all that shit.
So you get the whole thing, basically.
Yeah.
You can go to the pool, you can go to the gym after, you can go to the gym.
Yeah. I just mean in the sense that the gym, the center's not open 24 hours.
Oh, yeah, it's only open, like 5 to 9 or something?
Yeah, which is perfect anyway.
Who's going to be going
fuck,
late night?
I go after work, I'll just go past there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's sick. All right, so why are you so inclined to join these current jobs that you're seeing applications for? What's making them look so good?
Fuck, bro.
And they're all Navy based. They're all around that same thing.
I don't really see myself as like an infantry soldier. I don't think, because I'd never fight a politician's war.
Yeah.
And obviously, that may sound stupid to people because they're like, you're still going to join the Navy. That's like, but it's a little bit different. Because in wartime, certain things have to happen for all facets of your military to enter. Mm-hmm. Unless it's an all-out war, then you just go to war.
Yeah.
War. And that doesn't exclude anybody. Like, if people are worried that, like, if you sign up for the military and you're going to go fight in World War III when it does kick off, that's not just me. Like, every able-bodied man, you're coming as well.
Yeah. You actually have better benefits of already being enrolled than being drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, that won't happen. That war won't happen for a little bit. And I want to do it just as the benefits, but the pay is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The traveling and the experience you get is insane. The people you meet, I'm sure, are good, but I haven't really been focusing on the people I'm going to meet too much yet. it's doing it for myself, really.
Yeah.
I think, and the thing is too, this about me, I'm really into guns. I love guns.
Yeah.
I fucking love guns.
Yeah,
I just wish that, like, we were like America.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of everything
Not
else.
in the sense of the school shootings. Yeah.
None of that. But the amount of like freedom they have, not anymore really, but the amount of freedom that they used to have, is insane.
I think the freedom. Why do you think the freedom's changed?
It is changing. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
Like state to state?
Yeah. But
Okay.
not just that, on a federal level too, it's changing big time over there, the gun laws. And eventually what they'll do is, because I hate to say it, but most of those shootings they're not staged, but the kid who does it is a plant. He just, real people are dying. Real people are getting killed, but he's not this little depressed, some of them, yeah, fair enough, but most of them not these little depressed kids that had enough. They are that, but they're also being pushed to the edge by this black figure in the corner that's like...
I know what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Then they're not plants, they're persuaded.
Yes.
By the same thing we're talking about in the beginning of the episode, by culture, by the certain things they're getting fed through algorithms and things like that. I know what you're saying.
They're, funnily enough, they're getting fed specifically to these people because they want these people to snap.
Because it probably is to make money at the end of the day. Like certain sides of the gun control laws. Is that what you're getting at?
They want essentially what happened to Australia. They want to take away all the guns.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you take away all the guns? You don't have a armed population. If you don't have an armed population, they can't form a militia. If they can't form a militia, they can't overthrow you. Yeah. And that's how you just fucking step on their dogs.
Well, I don't know. I think that they have so many other ways that they could be doing it anyway. They wouldn't need to roll out military law. What do you call it? Martial law.
Martial law.
Because everyone was compliant for the last fucking 2-3 years
that was
anyway.
A test. That was a fucking big test, bro.
Everyone was compliant. Like it's not like it mattered that cunts had Glocks or not.
But that's not even the real issue, but the fact that COVID happened and everyone was compliant, that's just because we're all dumbed down into this docile state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through the shit they feed us in the media makes you stupid. Like MK Ultra's been admitted to, for example.
Yeah, that's
you know
crazy.
What I mean?
That's crazy.
Like,
should we go into MK Ultra? Do you want to talk about that a little bit for everyone who hasn't heard of it? Because I can think of quite a few of the listeners that wouldn't have heard of it before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. I'm going to preface everything I say, by the way, that I'm not an expert.
Yeah. I mean, neither. Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to just believe me for everything I say, because I used to do that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But you really got to go do your own research. Everything I say, I genuinely think to be true. I'm just going to say that right now. Like, everything I say, I genuinely think to be true.
For me, I'm going to jump in as well and throw points in, but I only am going to be reciting other things that I've heard.
Yeah, right.
I don't even know if it's to be true.
Yeah.
I just think it makes so much sense. It makes sense to me.
Well,
and I've heard other people say it.
It does. It
Credible
really does.
people.
Yeah, exactly. Credible people say this stuff all the time. That's the thing too. When people say stuff and then it comes true later, and people go originally, "Oh, you were crazy," but then it comes out that they were right, and it's like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah.
What else have you been right about?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, as I said, preface, I'm not an expert in nothing. You know, like I'm not a scientist or an archaeologist or a historian. I'd love to be.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd love to be, but I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I just do my own research and open my own fucking eyes.
Yeah.
Um.
An interpretator.
Yeah. Exactly. But I do
Professional
encourage,
interpretator.
I do. I do encourage. Fuck. I might actually have to have a smoke soon.
Yeah, that's alright. That's alright. Whenever you're ready to get up.
But I do encourage everybody that listens to not just me, but to all these other conspiratorial-minded people. Do your own research. Like, seriously, if you do your own research and go out and look at it, you'll realize that the stuff we're saying is not bullshit. It's
I know.
really
yeah.
not.
It's crazy.
It's fucking crazy,
It's
bro.
crazy once you open that can of worms.
When
eh?
you do, bro,
Yeah.
it's just, you'll never... I hate it because I watched a video the other day. I'll see if I can... Can we airdrop to each other?
Yeah, we can airdrop to each other.
I watched a video the other day, and I don't know if I'll be able to find it again, and if I don't, we'll just move on. But I'll explain the video quickly. There's a guy sitting on the ground in trash, essentially, a homeless man in America somewhere. And people are filming him, as they do, because when they see a homeless man, film him.
Bomb. Yeah. Content.
Yeah, content, exactly, clout. What's this? Russia's continue. Oh, fuck me dead. Anyway. The guy was talking on the ground. He was talking about the Trilateral Commission. He was talking about the Bilderbergs and all that sort of stuff, and all the globalist societies that essentially control the world. But you look at the context it's in. It's like this guy's homeless, looking crazy, sitting on the ground, but everything he's saying is true. And I'm like, I don't want to end up like that.
I think I've seen a couple of those videos too.
Yeah.
And I'll put a link. When you do send it to me, I'll put a link in the description to anyone who wants to watch it.
Yeah. I was gonna say actually, if people did want to, if I do find it and send it to you, if that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I looked at that and I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to end up like that because he's spitting facts.
Yeah.
I hate using that piece.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
And the people are filming him and like, oh wow, what's he saying? What's he saying? And he's like, yeah, you keep drinking the water they're giving you, and you keep doing this, that, and the other. But in reality, you're all fucked.
See, this is when I get too. Even hearing it, it scares me too much to dive that deep into it. Like everyone who is a conspiracy head, like me and you, and other people listening are as well. We've heard the theories. There's fluoride in the water that is a chemical that's used to create control and things like this. And it's like, yeah, it's fucking nuts. But because I've heard so many other things that have turned out to be true and make so much sense that it's like, I'm not willing to dive into that theory. I'm not willing to give myself the peace of mind of knowing whether it's true or not. I want to pretend like it doesn't exist because on the one side of it, that is too scary. If the government is doing something like putting stuff in the water to keep us all docile. And the second thing is once you are on that side of the fence of a believer, you are crazy.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
And to everybody in the general population, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You're not actually crazy. Anyone who thinks like that, you're not actually crazy. But everyone around you, at least for the most part, even friends and family, they'll view you as crazy. And
it's almost like you're crazy in reality because that's the world that everyone lives in.
Exactly. This reality, you are the crazy person.
Yeah.
In the real, what we would, in a perfect world, you would be considered a normal person.
Yeah.
At least if the world changed for the better, you would be considered a normal person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found the video.
Okay.
Should I just leave it for now and then we'll
leave it for now and then show me after, and
Cool.
I'll put a link in the description. Everyone else can watch it too.
Good stuff.
I'd rather live in ignorance in a lot of these things. I think ignorance is bliss.
You can't say that. That's another thing. That's like another psychological
Yeah,
operation. They want you to think like that.
But I think about that a lot. Ignorance is really bliss. I think to myself, if I was ever being cheated on by a girl and I had no way of ever knowing if I never found out, no one ever told me, and I was willing to die like that. But I was happy in this relationship. But this person was cheating on me on the reg. You're getting dick, like on the fucking month after month
from Jamal.
Yeah, just dicked out all the time. But for me, in my world that I live in my reality, which is a weird thing to say, but it is in my reality.
It's true.
I'm in love. I'm happy.
Yep.
Do I really want to know? Like, I ask myself that all the time.
No, in that situation, what you just described, it's a pretty good analogy because you're living in bliss, completely ignorant to the fact of what's happening outside of the relationship. But Okay. In that point, right, you never find out up until you and your missus die, right? Say that happens, right?
And that's if I'm able to find out in an afterlife. I'm talking about limiting myself to never knowing.
Now. To now. If that does happen and you live to 85 years old each and you both pass away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time she was getting digged down the road, right?
Yeah. Even by then, Jamal Jr.
Was fucking her as well, bro.
She'd gone to the sun. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's just disrespecting me, bro. Just straight up disrespect.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck, I didn't expect that one. But it just came out of left field, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
But that analogy, as you're
But
saying.
if you take that, okay, so that's fair enough, right? I understand where you're coming from with that analogy. But can you imagine at the same time if these people behind your back were planning to rob and kill you, right? That's what is people are ignorant to. That's fair enough if she's cheating on you and you don't care. That still shouldn't happen, obviously. But you're living in bliss and then you live a full life and you die and you're happy the whole time. You never are aware of the fact that it's happening. That's all right. All right. I'm not saying it's all right as like a thing, but I'm just saying
Like, that's all right to have that mindset.
Mindset, exactly. But if behind your back your missus and Jamal are fucking
And his son.
are plotting to literally rob you for everything and then kill you after and fucking eviscerate your corpse, then that's when ignorance becomes not so bliss.
And I know you're using the rob and kill you as a metaphor for being in the program that the government's putting us all in, right? It's like it's not okay to be in bliss.
It's not really the government, by the way.
Well, the higher than the government, which are still in controlling the government,
yes.
right? The society that we've been placed in from the moment we're born.
Yeah.
You're saying that it's not good to live this ignorant lifestyle because eventually you're going to find out. But in reality, I think it's the same thing, because even though you're being fed all these things that are going to kill you and they're taking everything from you along the way, you'll never know that if you never open the book.
Exactly.
You're still going to live in bliss. So what if Jamal and your wife are going to take everything you've got, but you never know, because by the time that you have nothing left, they kill you and it seems like a natural cause? I'm still willing to live inside of that life.
No,
it's just,
I'm not.
I am. It's just so intriguing to open the door and to see if they're fucking in there. You know what I mean? Like, that's
exactly.
the part of me that... Like, I would understand, but it's like, it's so peaceful being in the lounge room. There's just that piece of me that just has to just like, are they in there fucking, you know what I mean?
What is that noise? But that's the thing, bro. You're in the lounge room, you're watching TV, MK Ultra waves passing through your brain. You're completely numb to the fact that he's fucking the shit out of her in the next room. In your house for some reason now.
In my house, like, he's living in there, rent free.
It's your best friend.
He's my best friend. Oh my
Oh,
god.
fuck me.
And they've convinced me that Jamal's mine, Jamal Jr., but he ain't.
Yeah. It's like that video of the baby when it comes out and it's black and the guy's just looking at it like...
He's like, wow, I didn't know I was black. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like an ancestry test.
All right. Before we get up and have our break, which we're going to in a minute,
Fucking dying,
let's
bro.
just say what this whole MK Ultra is. That has come out to be
Oh, we didn't
admitted.
even say it, did we, bro?
No,
we just
we
keep going
haven't.
off in these fucking
Yeah.
tangents. It's great. I love
Do you
it.
want me to go first, or do you want to jump in first and what it is? Because you're more educated on it than me.
No, I'd love for you to start. Actually,
What I understand on MK Ultra, which was a American CIA operative system that was introduced in, like, say, the 60s, or was it go earlier than that? Let's just say a while ago.
Let's say 60s.
So it was a while ago. They started to do it, and they wanted to try and create control over the population by subliminal messaging and little things like that in the beginning. Just like when you listen, everyone's looked up those YouTube videos of little things and their subliminal messages. It's advertisement. It's the way everything works. It's the way of mass marketing. It's all the same.
Definitely.
And they were trying to see if they can create a controlled society. And then one of the things they started to do was they started to introduce things like LSD and acid and mushrooms and other psychedelic drugs, even ketamine and other forms of banned substances. and they would feed them to people and they would tell them things and they would kind of brainwash them in a way that was like almost like a cult leader would do to his tribe that's sitting underneath a tree.
I don't want you to leave that point for a second. I know you can get it. Who's the person that they tried it on mainly?
His name, I'm going to fuck it, but it's Marilyn Manson.
Okay, so you got it right halfway. It's not
Okay.
Marilyn Manson. He's that guy who apparently took out his 2 ribs to suck his own
Yeah,
cock.
okay.
It's Charlie Manson.
Charles Manson. That's Charlie Manson.
Charles Manson.
That's
whatever.
it. I thought I knew it was a Manson of some sort. I get them two confused.
No, but I knew you were going to get it. I just wanted to guide you a little bit to the point.
Yeah.
But Charlie Manson, yeah, for people who don't know, they should definitely go out and research him.
He was a serial killer, hey?
He
What
ran,
was he
he ran the
famous
Manson
for?
family, which was a cult.
Okay.
Of people who believed they worshipped him like a god. They literally worshipped the ground that he walked on.
Yeah.
And he was a CIA operative. Every time he'd get busted for something, the CIA would
Hang
come in and-
on. We're already getting into the conspiracy side of it. Let's just talk about what he really was for a bit. Charles Manson. Was he did he kill people? Was he a murderer?
Well, yeah, yes, because like they're the Manson murders, like they did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Was he necessarily the killer? I don't know if he. I think that it was the people around him that did it.
And was it like a sex cult? Is that what he kind of ran? Like a everyone was taking drugs and just having sex
Yeah,
and
some stuff
shit?
like that. But it was LSD, as you said, mainly acid.
Yeah.
And I don't know about the sex part. I
Okay.
don't know. I haven't looked too much into that. Good question though. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that a little bit. But MK Ultra, yeah. So you hit the nail on the head with this one. But they didn't. So the way it was actually what they say it was drug related, right? But that's not true. It was actually everything related. So it's the frequencies your TV gives off. It's the colors in the TV, the patterns, like the RGB colors, like the red, green, blue. All of that, they figured out how to manipulate the human brain with that sort of stuff. But it's mainly the frequencies that everything gives off. So devices, radio, everything like that, all MK Ultra. And at first, it was only live in the US during that time of color TV and whatever. But now it's gone all over the world. Like in
Which doesn't sound as crazy to me as it did when I was younger,
Yeah.
because of the fact that it's been proven that your brain is just neurons, electrical neurons firing, and everything that you introduce to your body has its own chemical substance, and that affects the way that your brain is altered. So it makes sense that and they test these things. We've seen it in every movie. They test sending your brain certain signals and brain and patterns and frequencies,
That's right.
and it's going to alter the current and you know what I mean? It's science. It's not a conspiracy that this is real.
No, it's not. That's the thing. There's all these what we used to consider conspiracies that are now being proven true, but they don't reveal the full truth on them because that's why they'll show you what they want to show you. And then people go, oh, it was true all along, but this is what it was really about. No, it was true all along, and that's what it was really about. But they're showing you what they want to show you, so the whole world doesn't go.
If we're watching a TikTok video about a latest science breakthrough, about how they're able to put a fucking helmet on a monkey and put a thing into a computer and make the monkey move his arms, if that's what we're seeing on TikTok, the government's been doing that for decades.
Fucking decades, bro. That's okay. Another thing I want to get into is how the technology ages fast versus them. But yeah, no, you're right. That's true. What have they been doing that we don't know about?
Yeah.
And that's happened for 100 years. We've been suppressed for 100 years. We've been denied technological evolution for 100 years. We should already be in the cosmos, fucking flying around with the ETs and shit, doing crazy shit. But instead, it's been suppressed.
Yeah.
Like, it's happened all over the world.
Wow.
All over the world.
Crazy, and I love it.
Oh, so good.
So what would MK Ultra and how would that include into the Manson guy?
Well, he was a product of it, but not just he was a product of it. He was also like a catapult for it to bring it out to the world. But he did it within his circle, and so what they wanted him doing was they wanted the Manson story out there for the people to see on the news every Sunday night, watching and keeping up with this and that. But
I think he's popping up. Just keep ignoring it.
Yeah. But he was essentially just allowed proper freedom, like real freedom in whatever he wanted to do. They'd say go do it, and he was allowed to go do it. And that's what I was about to say before when you said don't get into the conspiracies yet.
Yeah, okay.
But this is true, mind you. This is proven. Literal agents came in when he would get arrested at a county or something, local county, for doing dumb shit, bashing someone or doing something stupid, whatever, drug related. they'd come in and they go, "No, let him out," and they go, "Who are you?" And they, "Who am I?"
FBI.
CIA top director.
Sam and
mate.
Dean Winchester.
Yeah. And yeah, they let him out and go, and he'd go off and do, but he wouldn't know that. He would just think he's getting let out.
Oh,
And then
really?
he'd go off and fuck up shit more.
Oh, so he wouldn't even really know that he's a part of this program. Is that what
No,
you're saying?
not really. No, he wouldn't, because he's
The government were
brainwashed, essentially.
using him as a test guinea pig
Yeah.
and seeing what would happen if we allow someone to have this much freedom. I didn't know that. I thought it was like he was an employee.
Well, you could consider him an employee, yeah, sure. Like, definitely everyone who works within that those programs are employees, but he was just like an unlicensed employee, essentially. It's like Osama bin Laden.
Yeah. Fuck, we're getting there. We're getting there, bro. We're getting there to the deep end of conspiracies straight away.
Bro, don't even call it conspiracies no more, bro. This is the truth, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
fucking sick of
Because
that
I do want to
shit.
do that. I'll actually want to talk about the Osama bin Laden one too, because that's very interesting.
No.
Not now, but we will talk
Yeah,
about that
yeah,
one.
of course.
But yeah, I've heard similar things where he would get busted for shit like having like a shitload of tabs, like a fucking like call it like 10,000 tabs, because everyone in his fucking, I thought it was like a sex cult, but I made that up in my head. In his cult that he was probably having sex with.
Maybe it was. I actually genuinely, I got no clue about
Well, that's just what I imagine when I think of a cult. The
Yeah,
guy's
so-
fucking
yeah,
them.
most people do.
The guy's
They're all
fucking
probably
him.
fucking big orgies. Arms, legs coming out everywhere.
Guys, girls, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Animals, bro, it doesn't
bro.
matter.
Fucking bring them all
Yeah,
in,
government's
bro.
like, have a fucking monkey as well. Yeah. Have you ever
Just
tried a horse?
swing it from
You ever
the
tried a horse?
Let's
just see what happens.
Split him in two.
Yeah. But the government would like bust him for having all this shit. The FBI or the CIA would come in and be like, release this guy, give us back all of his tabs. They would give him back his tabs, and then they would be like, just go back to doing whatever you were doing. They would watch and see what this guy and how he would use his techniques.
Right.
And I imagined, I don't know if this is true, but I've kind of made this, maybe I made this up in my head, that he would be introduced to these programs that the CIA would be doing, where they'd sit him down and they'd feed his brain with these new ideas that they've got in how to control someone, and then he would go out and he would spread that message to his cult, and then his cult would go out and they'd do crazy shit,
yeah,
bro.
exactly.
And then these girls and shit that would be out there seducing men and stabbing them to death and shit, the police or the CIA would come in and save those girls. They would let them off for free of charge,
Yeah, same
and
thing.
then they'd go back in, and then they'd create more men, and then it was like a pyramid scheme that
Well, yeah,
just
exactly.
spread
But
out
they were
through
like
society.
recruiters. They went out
Yeah,
and like convince other people to join, and they would come with them, and they'd all get on the ass and fuck their brains up. And
yeah, and then they would kill one of them,
Yeah.
and then they'd just fucking ditch this dead body somewhere,
Whoever.
and then they'd use it as blackmail, and then they'd introduce each other to more substances, and then they would get more recruitments, and then they'd kill. This is how I was indoctrinated. We've got to kill this person. I don't know why, but this is what we have to
just has
do.
to happen, yeah.
And for some reason, we never get busted. It's like we're doing God's work. We just keep getting let out of jail.
Yeah, exactly.
But it all came from the you can say from the roots, but I'm going to say from the top of the pyramid, which was the CIA in the first
Yeah,
phase.
it's always at the top of the bloody pyramid.
Which is, it sounds ridiculous, but I know that this has come out to be true.
It's true. That's the thing, though. When as I talked about, deniers who deny it even to this day about like all these black projects that were in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You can't deny it anymore. So what are you gonna say? Are you gonna say that everything's fake and like they're all making it up, and that the world is just so perfect, and you can't believe that the government's lying to you and that they're hiding all this stuff from you? No, that's not the case, bro. Like, look at the false flag operations they've already pulled off in the past. I'm not gonna say 9/11 yet. No, 9/11. Yeah, no, 100% 9/11 was a false flag. But
Is it illegal to say that or not? I don't know.
I actually got no idea.
I'm pretty sure there's only a couple things that are illegal to say, and that's one is you can't deny the Holocaust legally. I think this might just be an American law. It can't be a universal law. And I'm pretty sure you can't deny 9/11 of being a real event in history. You might be able to investigate it, but I'm pretty sure you can't deny the Holocaust from ever happening, and you can't deny 9/11 from ever happening. But I think you can investigate it.
All right, okay.
I think
didn't know
so.
that. I didn't know.
I think I heard
I
that
go off
somewhere.
the law of I'm a sovereign citizen.
Yeah.
I just say whatever the fuck I want to say. No one's gonna stop me. Like everyone has free speech, you know, and that's what they're really cracking down on as well. Freedom in general. We really don't have any freedom. Like Australia is one of the biggest test countries for this like agenda that they're doing.
Yeah.
But you know, we sit here now and we can say whatever we want. Technically, but in the wrong context, in the wrong circumstances, we'd be fucked, bro.
Of course, if we were fucking influential enough,
Yeah,
we would be suppressed.
exactly.
And even
yeah,
if
100%.
and I run a fucking little backyard podcast on the internet, no one is ever gonna know.
Not yet.
No one's ever gonna. Not yet. But for now, no one's ever gonna know.
I really hope this reaches like fucking hundreds of
It
thousands.
will in the future. It will in the future. When the people are backdating in the future,
Yeah.
they'll find this
They'll
episode.
find this one and they'll go, wow.
And they were saying this in
Well,
2020.
they'll see my new
2023.
one and they'll see me reference this podcast.
Yeah,
and they'll
yeah,
go,
yeah.
"What's that?"
And they're like, wow, they were saying this in 2023.
Wow, like 30 years ago.
Like, wow, they must have been alive for the 60s.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's just quickly go on to another one of those crazy schemes that you mentioned, which was Osama bin Laden with the CIA too.
Yeah. Well, that's not even, again, that's another thing that was proven true. He was a CIA tactician planted in Afghanistan in the 80s, trained and planted to fight the Soviets because the Soviets were invading at the time. And so he has a full sheet of like his name and date of birth, like all the stuff you need from the CIA, right? And it says CIA tactician, like he was a proper tactician, and they planted him there, right? And then from there, you know, they say like he turned fundamentalist and hated the West and death to the West, fly those planes into those buildings with extreme accuracy, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Who've never flown a fucking plane.
We've never
in their
seen a
life.
plane.
Right
Yeah.
into the building, no
Yeah.
worries. Two in the same spot, mind you,
Yeah.
and the third one just collapses on its own. You
Yeah.
know, right? And then,
Well, I think the general story was that the Americans would go in and they would train up all these Afghan soldiers to help fight the Soviets from invading because they didn't want communism to spread to the rest of the world, and that's what Russia wanted. And then through that and the help of the Americans, the Afghanis were like, look how powerful we've become, you know what I mean? We just said fuck off to Russia. Like, we're the fucking men, bro.
Yeah.
Look at the men we are.
look at the men
Let's
we are,
fucking
mate.
take over America while we're at it, you know?
That's
Fuck them.
Pretty much. Well, no,
And
actually,
that's the mainstreamed news publishment of it. It was like they were just got too big for their own heads. They forgot about the hand that fed them.
Well, if you want to look at it from if you're talking about it from their perspective, right, the fundamentalist perspective, if you want to look at it from their perspective, it has a little bit to do with the influence from their religion and culture. I don't really want to say that too hard because I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll get on.
But it has a little bit to do with that, but it has a lot to do with, again, influence from outside sources. But the main thing is the destabilization of the Middle East. America started that shit ages ago. The Gulf Wars and all that sort of stuff was the beginning of it. And then when they decided to, after 9/11, for some reason invade Iraq, like it wasn't 9/11, we got to go after the terrorists. It was 9/11, let's go bomb the shit out of this whole country and kill their leader, Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? Everyone
Yeah.
agrees, and it's known now, that under Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi, both of these leaders which were killed by the Americans, their leadership was 10 times better than what is going, 100 times better than what it is today. Because what they wanted to do was they wanted to build their own currency, essentially, back their own currency with their own gold and oil. And the Americans didn't like that because they knew that if that happened, their dollar would have actually been either very close to America's dollar or more. And they would have become the new preceding dollar of the world. Like the whole world would have followed their dollar.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Which happens often in history.
Yeah.
Quite often, yeah.
Oh, very often, bro. If we look at our real history and the history they've written for us, it's the same thing. It happens a lot. Too much. Almost.
Yeah. And isn't it weird that lately I've been hearing that they actually were some of the groundbreaking points in technology, like the Middle East, for a long period of time?
Yeah,
Like
well,
they
like you mean back
back in the day.
like 1300s, 1200s.
Yeah.
Well,
like
there was
they
a big
were
scientific
very,
community
very
there.
revolutionary in technology.
Yes.
And then that just stopped.
It did. That was mainly because my people, Turkish, well, I'm half Turkish, half Australian. So I say my people, but really I'm Australian.
Yeah.
But my ancestors...
They're as much your people as they're my people,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But my ancestors, they had the place called the Ottoman Empire, right? Which was a huge empire spanning from like the middle of Europe to pretty much the furthest reaches in Asia. Not really, but it was a huge empire, one of the biggest in the world. Rivaled the British Empire. Didn't even come like the Mongolian Empire. All those empires didn't even come close to the Ottoman Empire.
Well,
And they were the first people to take Constantinople, essentially,
okay.
like successfully, fully. And that's where it came from. They sort of started and stifled the progression of technology. They did it to a point where they kind of considered it to be magic almost. And they're just like,
okay.
This is too much. That's at least what we're told. But, who actually knows what happened? We weren't alive. There's no real records of what went down, so who knows? But yeah, that's kind of what happened. Yeah,
I think the history on leadership is so interesting. There's a great video, and I'll put a link in the description, explaining like history on war in 5 minutes or something. It's called.
Oh yeah, I've seen those ones.
They're so good, bro. I think you might have showed me originally a long time ago.
Maybe. Yeah, but he pulls up the map and he colors it in and stuff. He's like,
good. China went to this and this went to this, and then this broke down, and then they went out and they made their own branch, and they came back and they took it over, but then they went this way. It's so good.
He's honestly, for just those quick informative videos, and for people who want to, because a lot of people really don't know, surprisingly, even conspiracy or not, like surprisingly, people just don't have the knowledge that they used to have anymore. And I find it weird because people will talk to me and they'll go, you're like an old head, because you talk about all this stuff that we just don't even know about.
I do get that from you as well. I have thought that as well. I thought you're very educated for our age.
Yeah, and I just don't get it, because I figured that everybody would be talking about this stuff. Like, everybody wants to be more knowledgeable, but no one cares. That's the thing, but as I said, it's the culture that we're in.
Well, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, but we're not knowledge seekers anymore. We're not thirsty for it. At least for the majority of us, we're not.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
We have to be.
And that's full circle to what we're saying in the beginning, and that's the society that we've been born in. We've been born and raised not to be knowledge seeking.
Exactly.
We've been raised to find a career path and stick to that career path until you die, because look at all the incentives you get. You will not be living off the pension. You will have $600 a week to live off for the rest of your life. And it's like, that is incentive enough for some people.
Yeah.
And the other people who don't go along with those lines, where it's like, I don't want to just be doing a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. They're the ones who are never going to be able to live freely, because they don't have their own property, they don't have their own houses. And if they don't interested in that,
well, for the most part,
they're not interested in that, they're hippies.
Yeah.
Let them just be eating grass. Let them be eating grass.
The people who say they don't want to work, that's bullshit. Like, you have to work.
Yeah.
But it's just like the amount maybe is a bit too much for some people. I get that. But that's the thing, though. Humans are curious and creative creatures. We're not machines. We are biological machines, almost perfect, pretty much created. But we're not these, these robots that have to just do this monotonous work every day. We're actually creative beings. So I don't agree with a lot of what Elon says. I don't think he's very good for the world stage. But he did say one thing.
I'm gonna disagree with that. But okay. You go. You keep telling me what you're telling me. I
did agree with one thing he said. He said the reason why we want all these robots in the workforces, like especially those mundane, monotonous regions of the workforces, is because if that happens, and actually no, fuck, I'm so sorry. I don't. It wasn't Elon Musk that said
it. Wasn't.
It was someone completely different.
Okay. You had me going,
bro. I must have been watching something about Elon, and then that came up as well. But anyway, the guy was saying the reason why we need these robots in the workforce is to take over completely, is so that humans can start taking on what we're more capable of doing, the creative positions. And then that becomes like, we'll solve everything, because education will get better. And then once education gets better, people will start. So we'll only be, the only roles for humans will be scientist, engineer, and like those kind of, you know what I mean? There won't be, but everybody could be it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like we can't, everybody can.
Oh, it will become the new fucking labourer. It will become the new cashier. It will become the new workshop member. Because everyone's going to be so smart that you'll have, that's the new norm.
That's a good word. The norm. That will be the norm. Yeah. But it's the proper norm. It's the way we should be. It's the way humanity should live as a whole. As a society. But right now we're stuck in this, what people like to call the Great Awakening / the Great Reset. And it can go one of two ways. Right now we're really at a convergence point where we have to make a decision as like a species, and we are, powerful and smart enough to do it, but we're just too docile and numbed right now to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Well, at least for the most part.
I think of it as if, like, as you said, we're not these machines, but we are. We are these machines. We are all an individual machine that has these that has all these millions of things happening inside of our body. Well, in literal terms, it's like trillions of things happening inside our body that are coherently working together to create the machine of us. All these little organisms and gears that are turning to create us to be alive, to be conscious, and to be cognitively functionable. But we are not machines to be in this working force that we have got, because that's been created, man-made. The fact that we have to go to work from 9 to 5 is such a weird... It makes sense because it's all we know, but that's made up.
It's made up.
It's made up just as much as in Greece. They only work from, say, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then they go home for 2 hours and they come back and they do another 8 hours from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. Whatever they have some kind of arrangement like that. They have a way. In Italy, they have a similar thing where they don't do 9 to 5. They do like, say it's fucking 7 a.m. to fucking 3 p.m. Oh no, they do like 9 a.m. to fucking 1 p.m. and then they'll have a break for 2 or 3 hours and they'll come back and they'll do another 6 hours at night time.
Yeah.
And it's like, we think that's so weird, but we have something just as weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why do we have this system in place?
It's all the same anyway. It's all, at the end of the day, it's all that long period of missing time in your day, essentially, where... And I don't mean it as like missing time that's wasted time. Like, I know you love your job, for example.
Yeah.
You get satisfaction out of it. And that's how it should be. But it's still that time that's taken from you being, as I said, what you're meant to be, which is a creative and curious being. You're meant to research, knowledge, like, needs to come to you, and then you need to make stuff out of it, for example. Right?
And then pass that on to the next generation as fast as you've learned it, which is not something that we have. We have a massive gap in time between gathering information and giving it to the next generation.
That's right. And that's why these generations that are coming now, they're fucked.
They're full fucked.
They're fucked.
Yeah. They're full fuck. But it's like, one thing I tell myself, and I've realized this lately, is I'm not willing to sacrifice nothing. I don't sacrifice anything. If I want to fit something else in, then it's my job to manipulate time better to be able to fit that in. I'm not sacrificing anything in my life. I'm negotiating. And that's one thing that I think that I love my job so much because of. I love my job because I have all these things that I can get towards, and I can earn more money, and I can get better, and I have role models, and I can create I can get into a position that's never been in the trade ever before.
Right.
I want to be able to be something new for the industry.
Yeah.
But that's not what I was born to do. I'm negotiating the fact that that's the society I'm gonna crack it open. I'm negotiating the fact that that's the society that I've been born into, where I have to have a job. So I'm going to make as best note of the shit situation that I have, which is shit. It's shit that I have to go to work 50 hours a week. Like, how good would it be not to have to do that? But unfortunately, I have to. So let's just fucking negotiate with myself that it is so enjoyable and I can make it enjoyable. You know what I mean? 100%. If I didn't do that, fuck, I can't imagine what I would be able to do if I didn't have to do it.
Exactly.
Because I have never been brought up in that world.
Exactly. And it was never your like prerogative to go out and do that sort of stuff. Never you never really thought about that choice to go out and do that, because life rushes you into these, I don't want to say rushes, but it's true. It rushes you into these positions of like, I got to make a choice, I got to make it now, and that's my choice, and I'm going to make it. And that's what's going to make me money. That's what's going to help. And it's true. It will help you make money. It will help you secure a good life. Your finances will be in order. But then you get to the end of it, and it's like, will you ever look back and go, all that time? That's not... See, the thing is now, that's what's happened to these older generations a little bit. They sort of get to these times now, and some of them are a little bit like, oh, fuck, I spent a lot of time doing stuff that I really just shouldn't have been doing, like work mainly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for us, that choice comes a lot sooner, because I genuinely believe there's a big turning point in our
I believe so too.
As a whole. Like, we're about to hit it. We have a deadline. Some people say it's 2030. Some people say it's sooner than that. Some people say it's this year. But the deadline's coming, and we have to be ready. Yeah.
Well, I hear what you're saying. We have to be ready, but let's dive into that. Do you want to take a break first, or do you want to go into
1:30.
it? Do you want to take a break first?
We've been talking for like almost 2 hours. That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't, because when I watch these podcasts, I'm not trying to be rude, by the way, but sometimes I chuck it on when I'm going to go to bed, and then I just have it next to me and just like listen to it, and then I'll drift off. It'll be over by the time obviously I wake up. 8 hours later, whatever. but I didn't understand how some of them can go for so long.
Trust me, bro.
But they really can.
It really
hey?
can.
That's crazy.
Especially the better I get at it, I'm understanding how easier it is to be in constant, fluent conversation.
Yeah,
In the beginning, I was stressing
Yeah.
out.
Plus, me and you, we just flow, bro. It's too easy.
Yeah. But yeah, my question was, do you want to take a break, have a cigarette, or do you want to get straight into? Because I've got a big topic I want to go into.
What is it before we go?
And that's just you're talking about we need to be ready for this nuanced society that we could be living in, and that's what do we think it could be?
Oh shit, bro! You want me to go in what? Guys, we're gonna have to spend another 2 hours. Yeah, fuck. Do I want to smoke? Yeah, I'll have a smoke.
Alright, we'll be back. And we're back. Sorry to everyone, we just had a quick pause. There was no time deviation for everyone else.
No.
And I feel like a little bit of a bad friend because I tried to convince you to have a cigarette so I could stand up and stretch my legs.
I needed a cigarette anyway, bro. Fuck me.
Alright. Cold beer. I might swap this out, get a fucking cold drink too. But we were talking about what is it that could be this new on society that we're going to be evolving into.
You're 1/3 of the way. You said new. You just got to add world order.
Okay, here you go. I like this. I researched this a lot when I was 11. Yeah.
See, we were talking originally about how they play everyone off each other, which is what they want. They want everybody fighting. So that way them at the top live like a nice life while the people struggle.
And they do that through things like gun control, pro or against, pro-life, abortion, pro and against. You have it in systems even with black and white. You have it with men and women now. You have it with trans and not trans. You have all these little things in society, Republican, Democrat. You have Australian, Liberal and Labor. Australia does pretty good. We don't really give a fuck.
We don't.
We're very inclusive.
The people who live here, we're so kicked back. We're
just
chill.
inclusive with each other.
Exactly. But that's because they made us a multicultural society. That was another one of their plans is to get, it's like a big melting pot and mix everybody together.
Yeah.
I'm not against, I'm a product of, I'm a mixed race person myself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what essentially is another thing. They just want everybody, no identity, no self-identity basically.
Yeah. And
then clone slaves essentially. And it's not a good thing. It's
so you mean like in a sense that like you don't even have the support of having like a home team.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because we're all one.
Yeah. And I agree. The thing is, we all come from the same blood, just different essences. That's what it's different parts of the world create different people, right? But the main goal is just total decimation of all populations, all native populations, all everything they consider a threat to themselves, to get rid of them.
Yeah.
But the New World Order is essentially what it is. That's what I people hear that, and that's the first time I've said something probably on today's show that people go, oh yeah, crackpot, idiot, bro, forget about it.
Yeah,
but
here's that tinfoil coming out.
Yeah, exactly. Here comes the tinfoil. But no, that's not the case, bro. The New World Order may not be open and available to everybody's eyes at the moment, but it's happening and it's already in the works. It's been in the works since 1910. The destruction of Western civilization has been in the works since just before World War One.
Mm-hmm.
And the next big step is a false flag alien invasion.
Yes. Oh, I've been saying this. I'm so glad someone else brought it up on the pod, bro.
So we've talked about this when in our conversations. I get really intense. I'm going to try not to do that now.
Yeah.
But that's the next big step.
And I'm going to disclose that I'm agreeing, but I'm going to play devil's advocate as well.
Of course.
Because I also don't know everything. Cheers. Vitamin water. But yeah, I've been saying it too. I've been saying there will be some kind of... let's make sure the mics are on. There will be some kind of global event that will make everyone decide they kind of have to unite.
Yep.
But based on everything that we've been through statistically and most probably it's going to be staged. Yeah.
Fuck, bro. Oh, God. All right. I'm going to start this part of the conversation by saying what you just said, totally accurate. They're going to scare everybody into uniting, and that's what they want. they're going to scare everybody into 15-minute cities and then bomb the shit out of them.
Oh my gosh!
But
Wow.
what's going to happen? Ronald Reagan slipped up at so the UN, United Nations, right?
Yeah.
They held a big conference, right? And Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan was speaking at said conference. And again, I could probably pull it up on YouTube, and you could.
Oh, there'll be a link in the description. Yeah.
For the people. And he essentially says in this video, he says, "Can you imagine how quickly our differences would disappear if an alien threat were to threaten humanity? And just imagine all of our differences would appear if a universal alien threat," he literally says it, "came and essentially scared us." And then he goes on and continues, but he says this in front of the whole United Nations. And so that
And
was
almost to make everyone be like, good idea.
Good idea. Wow,
Yeah.
I love that. And so what this is something.
And then all you hear is pen and paper, bro. There's hundreds of pen and papers.
Write it down quick.
Call the wife. I won't be home tonight. It's like the what do they call it? The crash in the Wall Street back in the day. In the beginning of the Wolf of Wall Street. Black Friday or whatever it was. Yeah. It was like that.
It was like that, yeah. When everyone's going fucking ballistic on the softball. Yeah, that's essentially what's going to happen, man. I mean, I say this to people, like, the ETs are real and they're visited. They've been here for thousands of years, tens of thousands, if not millions. And to deny it is like, it's a very human thought. It's like, we're the only ones, we're the center. We're very important, and and people who are spiritual, yes, we're very spiritual beings, but we're not the only ones.
It would be bananas to think like that.
Exactly. It would be literally bonkers.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is they've already started it. If you haven't noticed in the media for the past,
Oh yeah, 100%. I've noticed
they've
this.
been slowly leaking it out, but recently they've ramped it up. 5 UFOs shot down just after that Chinese spy balloon, but they're not calling them balloons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all the shit that's coming from the Pentagon now. They're literally yesterday or like 2 days ago, they said there could be an alien mothership in our solar system, and they're sending probes to Earth.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
And then Oumuamua is the thing that they're calling it, but it's
And it's like I've been telling people this, and it's like, why I don't know why people brush me off. Where it's like, if you're going to make something so big, you have to let it out in steps.
Exactly.
And one of the biggest steps was like 3 to 5 years ago, and that was the fact that you start talking to anyone about whether there's aliens, 99% of them are going to be like, most likely there are.
Exactly.
50 years ago, you're crazy, you're fucking banana, you're mental. And then it's like, then all of a sudden, I think it was 3.5 years ago, they started to release all these documents from the Pentagon and videos.
Real videos, mind you.
Stating that, we have like 147 different UFOs that they're going to release to the public. And that's just what they're going to release to the public. They started to have these press conferences where people in military positions are going to be in trouble for things that they've denied in the past, and they're going to be forced to admit them on the present.
That's right.
And then people are being jailed for them. People are being stripped of their badges and their uniforms because they lied in the past.
Exactly.
And it's like, we live in a society that is so smart compared to us. Their foundations are so unbelievable. How could me and you have thought, if we were just two men without a society, we were just cavemen, we would never be able to think of a society that we have. We would not be physically capable of doing it.
Exactly.
So if people who are this smart, who are going to think of things like not the 10 Commandments, but the Bill of Rights and all this shit.
Yeah, and the Constitution.
Constitutions that we live in. If that's how smart those people are, imagine how easy it is for some people to ease UFOs into society without it being a big thing.
Into mainstream media.
And they've tested these things in the past with little things. Like, remember that, I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but they read the War of the Worlds on the radio. They read it.
Like fucking 100 and... there was 19... I think it was just before World War II, possibly.
I think so, yeah. It was a while ago.
But they did the radio announcement, and they essentially said that there's the
aliens have landed, and they're just making sound effects and all these things.
Exactly,
and they're just reading a book just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And like, thousands of people were killing themselves. It was anarchy for a bit.
Proper anarchy.
And they're like, okay, whoa.
We're lying, bro.
Just
We're
joking.
reading a book,
Yeah, joking.
Yeah, that's insane, but that's true.
And now if they did it, bro, it's 10-second attention span society. No one gives a fuck.
It's a TikTok society. We're all constantly scrolling. That's the thing. I find it myself. I'm guilty of it too. Obviously, I live in the same society as everybody else. I'm guilty of the same brainwashing. But I go to watch a video that's 15 to 20 minutes long, and I'm like, fuck me, bro. 20 minutes, bro.
What a mission.
Make it 15 seconds so I can just understand and go past. Like, fuck.
You do it on 8x.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, it's done.
Oh, you just keep hitting the 5-second skip button, and then you just keep going like that.
Yeah. But yeah, as you just said, they've recently come out with like things being shot down over Alaska and international waters. Things have crash landed in places like Ohio, wherever they've landed. Yeah. It's not a big thing anymore, bro. People are like,
but it's
aliens
of society to make them numb to it as well. That's another thing. But they're really getting ready for the alien threat. They're not a threat, mind you. No, I guess some ETs may be a threat, but most of them aren't. They're benevolent, right? Benevolent creatures that just want to help, but they can't really interfere with what's going on because that's galactic intervention. You can't, you know what I mean? Like even we heard it in Futurama, where they say you can't, like the Galactic Federation can't intervene in a planet's troubles because it has to let it play out itself. It's kind of like what's happening here.
And it's not like we haven't got hardcore proof that these things have happened in the past on massive levels, like Egypt.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
If you want to bring up Egypt, I'll go on another podcast and talk about fucking Egypt and Atlantis for 2 fucking hours.
We will in the future. But I mean, like, the proof of aliens is written in the fucking scripts in Egypt on the walls. What do they call them? I always lose the words. Yeah, it's in the Bible, for Christ's sake.
It's in the fucking Bible.
What do you call it on the walls when they write things down? Hieroglyphics. Like, they have told us this is how shit has been done in society. Yeah. So why would they have not gone out and come back and monitored and all these things?
It's not just monitored, interacted. Mm-hmm. So this is going to get real conspiratorial now, but I hate using that word and I hate using that frame of reference for conspiracies because it's not a conspiracy, it's true. We've been in touch with, especially like at the higher ups of the government and then these black projects especially, now more so than ever. We've been in touch with them, you know what I mean? And we've traded technology and stuff like that, but mainly where we get, because what they're going to do is all the craft that we see at the moment flying around, 95% of it is ours.
Yeah,
it's us. We're up there in those craft, and it's experimental. And what they're doing is they're slowly doing more fly around cities and stuff like that, so people see it and go UFO. Yeah. But in reality, that's us in there flying an extraterrestrial vehicle. So it's like, I don't know, you know Bob Lazar, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Bob Lazar was a guy who was apparently in Area 51 doing these experiments, and he came out with it and was like, "This is what's really happening," exactly. And everyone's like, "No, that didn't." No.
You're lying, brother. And that's the thing with Bob Lazar. He's telling the truth, fully telling the truth, but they want him to be saying what he's saying, so he's allowed to. So I don't know whether or not he's actually in on it, but everything he says, obviously, as I said, it's the CIA and it's all the groups letting him say that stuff because they wanted out that information that he's spewing out. But he said, and it's not just from him, it's multiple other people too. But he said that so far, what he knows personally and what he's worked on, there's 11 craft that they've either shot down, dug up, or that have crashed. So dug up means archaeological. Wow. That means thousands of years old.
That's fucking crazy. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And essentially they back engineer this stuff and try and figure out the technology which they've pretty much perfected.
I can't believe I've never thought of finding a UFO prehistoric.
Yeah.
That is the most sense of all time. That makes more sense than finding one now.
Now, exactly.
Yeah.
So these ones were archaeological digs, and they found some in like Antarctica and stuff like that. And these craft are essentially what we would consider UFOs, UAPs, but to them they're just craft. They're just highly advanced craft.
Yeah.
And so they've reverse engineered this stuff, and made it so that we can use it. The TR-3B is one. That's an experimental vehicle that we see, or the triangle with the light in the middle. That's what people report all the time now. It was off the USS Nimitz in that video where the triangle's in the sky. That's the TR-3B.
Wow.
It's an actual proper military vehicle made with ET technology, and they put it all together and put it in the sky, and it's insane, bro. It's absolutely insane.
I think of it as if, like, have you ever seen Ms. Marvel?
Is that the one with the Muslim superhero?
Now, Ms. Marvel is like a blonde chick in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's from a time before Captain America, back in the day, and she's a very, very powerful. But the plot of the movie is there's this alien race called the Kree, and they're painted to be the bad guys, or they don't turn out to be the bad guys, and they have been living within our society for a very long time, and they're shape-shifting in a way. And I'm not here saying lizard people, I'm not here saying any of these crazy things, but I see the similarities between what is most likely to be true, because these Kree also have been living just outside of our atmosphere, invisible in a way from being encountered from us. But they've always been playing their part. And then eventually, through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, through things like Thor landing, through things like the Hulk becoming real, through things like Iron Man creating this suit, and then the invasion in New York, now when something like the Kree comes out, like we've always been here, it's not a big thing inside the MCU. The same fucking thing is happening. And I use movies as references, which is silly.
You have to use them as references because that's predictive programming. They put all of what's going to happen in the future in our media. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, that backs up my theory a bit more then, because I thought it's a bit silly to be using movies as reference points, but it's a movie, you know.
Think about it, bro. That, especially MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that reaches everybody.
Yeah.
So obviously they're going to put their predictive programming in those types of movies, but predictive programming has been happening for at least 60 years. Yeah. There's a movie called They Live, which was made in the late 80s.
Oh, you sent me this movie. I
must have, yeah. So it's called They Live, and essentially...
Is it the one where he finds the glasses?
He finds the glasses. Yeah. He puts them on, and everybody that are like bankers and socialites and all those people happen to have unhuman faces, like skin under the skin, basically, and they're not from this planet.
And instead of reading a billboard that says Coca-Cola, the most quenching drink of all time, he puts on the glasses and it just says
obey.
Consume, obey.
Yeah, that's right.
Buy,
reproduce, marry, do drugs, this stuff. Like, it's all subliminal messaging.
So
right. But it's meta subliminal messaging, because it's subliminal messaging within a movie about subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
And so that movie is like another very, very good example of predictive programming. But The Simpsons is like the fucking Hall of Fame for predictive programming, bro. They're so good at it because they realize The Simpsons actually does reach the biggest audience, so they put all of it in there. Yeah. And people go, how do they predict the future? They're not predicting the future. They're just telling you what's going to happen in the future that's already planned, and then it happens, and you go, oh, whoa. But,
well, for people that think this conversation is getting airheady, I'll say this. We're saying that this is something that the government is enforcing upon us to all think, which I can understand. If you're listening, I'm with you. It sounds crazy. But let's use COVID as an example. COVID is something that every single person on the planet was trying to gain as much information as they possibly could for their own safety and the safety of others around them, and to try and get back to a normal way of living. Exactly. We were not able to access information when 8 billion people wanted to find out as much as they possibly could. The media was shutting down what they would consider to be falsified information. Exactly. Some countries were taking over their internet. The statistics on people dying was never really released. They were making up numbers, which they came out to be true. They were making them up. If you died in a fucking car accident with COVID, you were down as a COVID death. That's why these numbers were so big in the beginning. No information on how to get better when you get it. The only thing you were being told was to take this vaccine. And there was nothing about the vitamin D that the sun can help your body when just by using photosynthesis. There was nothing about exercising, getting your respiratory system stronger. There's nothing about lukewarm liquids to even stop this thing from affecting you with a dry throat.
Exactly.
None of this, and every single person. So if they can suppress information on an 8 billion people level, every single person can be suppressed information. Why can't they just do the exact same thing and give out information that everyone is going to be able to consume, and the ones who question it, give them more information and give them what they want to consume. The ones who question that, give them more information. You know what I mean? It's like, when you think about it from that mindset, it's almost factual.
It's exactly
what we're
right.
saying.
It's almost factual. And it is factual.
Yeah.
But good thing you brought the COVID thing up, and how they make people think that they're going to get really sick, but they didn't tell anybody how to treat it themselves. With that's another example of playing people on each other, right? Yeah. I'm not saying, okay, I don't agree that anybody should have ever taken the vaccine in the first place. No one should have taken that shit. It's experimental technology. We don't know what the fuck's in it. No one should get a booster. That's seriously, it's so stupid if you do. And I'm saying this, me and you, we've got 2 shots each.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We're fucked if anything happens.
Yeah.
But
I'll disagree on that sense, and I think we'll have a mutual agreement on that. I don't see the problem with me taking it. You see a problem with us taking it. I don't think we'll ever agree on that commonality.
I think that we're okay. I think that we're fine in terms of like, that's what I was about to say. They played everybody on each other. So they played the people who feared COVID. They played COVID on them, and they played people who feared the vaccine. They played the vaccine on them.
Yeah,
that's what
true.
they did. In reality, neither of them are as dangerous as we said, as they say. But for example, like 2 years prior to now, when the vaccine was first getting rolled out, people were like, it's going to cause myocarditis, it's going to cause all these heart inflammatory syndromes, and people were like, no, take it, it's going to be fine. But now they're all admitting, well, you can get myocarditis from it.
Yeah, people are dying from the vaccines.
Yeah, people are dying from it. Yeah,
I think they copped the biggest fine in criminal history.
Pfizer, that was about 14 years ago, and people still didn't wake up to the fact that they're trying to fuck you.
No, I think they've recently copped another one.
Oh, wow,
I think they've copped the biggest fine in criminal history.
Yeah, fuck yeah, good.
Yeah.
Criminals at the end of the day.
But it's crazy how the fine that they've issued has no impact on that company because of the amount of money they made.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They even admitted it. The guy, Jordan O'Keefe, caught this guy, Jordan Tristan Walker, I think that's his name. He's one of the directors of Pfizer on the director board. You can't find his name anywhere on the internet, mind you. And if you do, it's going to be hit pieces against the guy who did the journalism on him. But this guy went to dinner with him, and he had a little camera in his pocket, and he was filming him saying this stuff, and he got him on camera saying, we're mutating COVID to make more money off the vaccines. Yeah, you won't. I'll try and find these videos.
If there is a link,
then I'll put it in the description.
Go on the dark web.
Yeah, you find on the dark web.
We ain't finding that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's all out there for everybody to see. And the guy who made the vaccine itself, the mRNA technology, back in the I don't know how long, he went on Joe Rogan's podcast and said, don't take it. Yeah. Like, it's not that safe. It's the thing is, as I said, they play it on people. So they're going to make people think, vaccine, as soon as you get jabbed, you're dead. Nanotechnology. Yeah. It's not the reality of
people are like, oh my God, it's attaching itself to your DNA.
Exactly, bro. Like, not really. Most of the time. This is the same as the vaccines we used to get. Those were just as bad for you as well. Yeah. But most of the time, your body will just pass it. If it doesn't, though, that's when you're kind of in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, see, that's another thing. They played it on everybody. Like, they put it in the news, for example. Athlete dies suddenly. Yeah. Oh, and then everybody in the comments, a lot of people dying suddenly recently. Yeah. What's going on? And they're like,
look at these conspiracy heads.
Yeah, exactly. So they're playing everybody on each other. So it's funny, really, just distractions.
Well, is this what you're getting at when you say this new world order? I'm guessing that you're getting towards a social security, one nation
under one global leadership, one religion, one world order. And it's like it's a complete communist dictatorship. That's what they want.
Okay, let's just say this is a fear that I think a lot of people have now, just by seeing what China have been doing in their society, where they have this social credit score, where if you walk and you jaywalk on the street, money's going to come out of your bank account. Yeah. It's all linked up to the same thing. The technology can be good and it sounds good, but it can be interesting in some things where you go to the shops and you just pick out everything you want and you just go home and the money gets
Amazon
taken.
Shops,
the money just gets taken out of your account. But then the scary part of it is if you have got a social credit score lower than 150, you can't go into this shop.
Exactly. You can't even get food for your family.
Yeah.
And that's what's already deployed in China. They warned us about it 8 years ago. There was a guy from China who left China and started telling people around the world. I forgot his name, but he started telling people around the world. He's like, this will happen in your countries too.
Chow Min, I'm going to guess.
Something
average.
Something average for that area. He essentially went around and he's like, yeah, this is going to happen in all your Western countries too. This is the plan and you better get ready. And everyone's like, no, that won't happen. Because look, we just passed a law that says this can never happen. Yeah, bro, they passed a law, but in reality, they're funneling $2 trillion out of your budget to go into these black projects to fund these fucking crafts that they're going to scare you with. So it's like, literally, Senator Rumfeld, before this has come out recently, but like I knew about this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Senator Rumfeld, just the day before 9/11, What does he do? He's in Congress. He says, we cannot locate $2.3 trillion from the annual budget.
Yeah.
Next day, right where they were doing the accounting for that 2.3 trillion, fucking plane bang.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've heard that before. That's crazy.
Like,
How many times can a coincidence be a coincidence?
Exactly. How many times?
When a plane hits a building where they're trying to locate $2.3 million worth of $2.3 trillion worth of military budget. When that military budget has been mostly invested into a country where they're started off by training these soldiers how to become soldiers. Like that's like
it's insane, bro.
That's actually scary for me. It makes my neck hair stand up.
Bro, it does, bro. I get goosebumps talking about it sometimes. Especially now that we're on a fucking platform where everybody can see it. I'm gonna be hunted down, bro. Like fuck me dead.
We're done.
We're actually done, bro.
The guys watching on YouTube.
Bullet comes through the window. Yeah, bro. And the podcast.
Right before I'm about to post on YouTube, like
everything gets deleted straight away from your account. It's all gone, like you never existed.
Alright, well, if this is what they're trying to get at with this nuanced thing that not everyone, people like me and you have been telling each other for a while about something's just going to happen very soon. We can see the lead up to a mass event in human history. Do you think our way of life will really change?
If it goes the way that the globalists want it to, then yes, it will change drastically. It'll go from worse to worse to worse to worse to worse, and it just will get worse and worse. There will be no better. But if it changes and we finally do what I guess you could call the Great Reject instead of the Great Reset, then the life would change 10 times better for everybody.
Do you think that's a possibility, realistically, bro?
Yes, 100%. The way that they go on about it and say like, how could we ever even fight this force if they're so unimaginably powerful? That's me. We have, forget the unimaginably powerful, we have the numbers and we have the resources necessary and we have the capacity in our brains to think for ourselves and realize what's going to be good for everybody. And that's why I say if it does ever happen in this big, it will happen. I say if it does, but it will. When it happens, when this big event happens and this big turning point comes, either enough people are awake to reject it or we're not and we just accept it. And that's ultimately what will happen. So it'll be like a war. And I do think people will die in this war for good and evil. Essentially what it will be like the yin and yang and they're fighting and converging. What's going to take over for good. And I really hope it's the good, obviously. But if it's not, then we're kind of screwed. We're kind of fucked.
I think of it as if like, if this was to ever become, and let's just make a big pinpoint in this conversation, allegedly, right? Because that's all we're doing here. We're just, me and you, we're just freeballing ideas at each other. We're not saying this on the internet to try and make anyone wake up because we have ideology. We don't have ideology. No. We have ideology. Sure. We are fucking making this up as we go.
Bro, don't say that. I'm not making some of this shit up.
I'm putting myself in a different basket than you, alright? I am completely freeballing it. And I trust myself and I believe in myself. So when I say, I'm not saying I don't believe myself, but I'm open to the idea of being convinced wrong.
Yes, right? 100%.
And it's like, what I was getting at was, if this giant system of control is going to come upon us, and the fearful part of it would be like, I'm not allowed to become a engineer. I have to be whatever the government tells me my job has to be for the rest of my life. I have to eat the same food the government tells me I have to eat for the rest of my life. I can't marry anyone I don't want to marry. Right. It's just complete what's the word you use? Dictatorship and communism. Totalitarianism.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes,
if that is true, the only way to break out of it would be if everyone says no.
Yes.
And that would mean the police, the Australian military, the American militaries. China would have to even fucking get on board with us. You know what I mean? Everyone would have to get involved. But there would have to be someone to step up into place.
Into power?
Yeah. You can't have chaos. You have to have order.
That's why this 2024 election that's coming up is really important. Because there's a new candidate who's considering running. His name is RFK Jr. Family of JFK.
Oh, yeah. Robert
Kennedy. And he's actually considering, for once we're going to have maybe a Kennedy in the White House again. And the last time we had that, we saw what fucking happened
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
By the way, he was literally on his way to a speech where he was going to out the whole thing.
He was on his way to a speech to end gun law, wasn't he?
No, that's the story that they've obviously put into Wikipedia. Maybe I actually haven't looked at the Wikipedia entries, but
I heard that he was on his way to announce this something to do with the gun control. I don't know whether he was pro guns or no guns.
I know that he was pro guns but anti like assault rifles. Everyone should be anti assault rifles. Even myself as a gun nut, like I don't have any guns. Prefacing Australian police, I don't have any guns, but not yet. But fucking. Everybody should be anti-assault rifle. He was anti-assault rifle, but I'm not sure if he was on. I know for a fact he was on his way to out the whole thing. Yeah, that's what his main prerogative going to that speech was. He just didn't tell anybody, but obviously the information clearly made it to the wrong hands. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same, the guy Lee Harvey Oswald, the guy who killed him. They say who killed him. Sorry, who didn't kill him, but he was a CIA agent too, bro.
I know, and that's facts too.
That's facts, like actual facts.
Yeah.
And like how can you deny it?
That is so
It's
fucked.
fucked up, bro.
Everything's fake.
Actually,
Everything is fucking fake.
Let me just quickly, because I don't want to sound like an idiot. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I was getting at anyway. And it sounds like you have an idea for this RFK, but that's who's going to step up into place. Who's going to convince everyone that he has the answer, and even if he has the answer, who's going to believe him?
If not RFK, then Donald Trump.
But who's going to believe him, bro? Who's going to be realistically? Who's going to be willing to give up peace of mind and ignorance?
We have to, bro. It's no choice.
And that's where I'm getting at. If I'm willing to have ignorance as bliss, I bet there's a fucking million other people who are
6 billion of them, mate.
Yeah.
Like 7.899 billion of them have ignorances.
I'd have to let go of all my dreams. I'd have to let go of my ambitions, my plans, because at the end of the day, they're not really my dreams and my plans. They're my negotiations to be successful within the society I'm born in. But what's on the other side? Like, it's just chaos. It's blinding. It's the unknown.
It's like it's like the storm's passing through now, and once it's over, it's either going to be a complete wreck, or it's going to be beautiful. It's one of two.
But how can you believe that we're possibly going to have any kind of revolution and then come out on top as a society when it has taken this long to get to this level of peace? We've just gone through slavery and sexism and what's the word for when you have like not white, but like straight people only. Like you weren't allowed to have like freedom of marriage. You weren't allowed to have, and some countries they're not even out of fucking like arranged marriage by force. Some people are still in a society where they can't have gays. Some people are in a society where you can have slaves. We've only just ended shit like torture and things like what's those things where they kill people in jail, like the death sentence. We've only just gotten this far to get to this level of comfort. How are you gonna reset all this, bro? It'll be The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It'll be just the governor here. It'll be the fucking kingpin over here. It'll be Mad Max. It'll be fucking
that's
crazy,
another
bro.
form of predictive programming, Mad Max.
So how do we get through this on top? That's the thing we got to work out.
I actually told my friend this before coming on this podcast. I said I'm going on a podcast, and he's one of my mates very close friend of mine. I consider him like one of my best friends. He
shout out to this guy then.
Shout out to this guy, bro.
You know who you are.
He's really switched on too. But once upon a time, he really wasn't as switched on as he is now. And he loves the stuff that I research, and he does it himself now too. I'm very proud of him that like I come to his house and talk to him, and he'll bring up a new topic to me and go, "Have you heard about this?" And I go, "Whoa, like okay, cool." He said to me before I went on this podcast, he's like, "You're going on, you're going to talk about all this stuff." He's like, "Make it a bit of a message to people."
Yeah.
It's like, as I said in the beginning, do your own research, people.
Yeah.
Do your own fucking research. But the more and more people that wake up to what's going on, the more and more people that will be ready for when it happens. Not ready in the sense of like strapped up military jackboots, fucking helmet and all that. But at least ready in the sense that when it goes down, they won't follow the crowd and go, let's go into that big building there, and then the next minute, high energy beam fucking blows the whole thing apart. But yeah, that's... Yeah. I hope that... Obviously, this isn't... I don't want to say this, but this isn't going to reach, like, millions of people just yet.
Of course.
You know what
that's
I mean?
not an insult to say. That's facts.
Yeah. But it's like, I wish it already had.
Yeah.
So that way it could just be like people could start a debate, could start an argument, could start not an argument, but could just start a healthy discussion about what's going on. And then from that we learn off each other. That's another thing too. People don't talk anymore.
Yeah, sure.
They don't. They really don't. You talk
I
to
think
your
people
friends,
just argue a lot.
It's arguments and that's it. You move on. Like I love having conversations with random people. That's why the cruise was so good, because I literally stopped every time I was in the smokers and tried to make a new friend. Tried to like get to know somebody new, and especially other older people because they love talking to younger people.
Yeah,
it's great.
And you want to listen to that guy? Let me talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they'll just talk and talk and talk, and I'll just go, fuck yeah, the fucking amount of shit you've gone through, bro. Yeah,
it's like gaining like 30 years of experience in a couple of seconds.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where I got that Papua New Guinea story from with the chains, the pulling, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. I mean, people need to talk, man. People just need to fucking get off their phone and just talk, bro.
Yeah, and I think you're right when you say people don't need to start a revolution. People just need to become aware of a system in place that could be detrimental to our current way of life. And it's like, it doesn't mean disobey and fucking burn it all down.
No, that's the number one thing we shouldn't do. Look what happened with the Black Lives Matter. Obviously, Black Lives do matter. But that organization is a Marxist organization that was hell-bent on destroying their own communities. They did nothing for the black communities. None of the money went back to the black communities. It all went to those head honcho women, those lesbians.
I watched a documentary on that.
Bought those multi-million-dollar mansions and they're all living lavish lifestyles now, and forget about the black communities who are still in peril.
Yeah.
You know? And as long as we have that BLM movement, like, fucking, are you serious, bro?
Yeah.
And look at Kanye as well.
Yeah.
I'm bringing up Kanye and I'm skipping a lot into this conversation. But I have to bring up Kanye really quick. He went to that thing last year wearing an All Lives Matter shirt. And everybody fucking wrote him off. They're like, white supremacists. This, that. How is he a white supremacist? How? Tell me how, bro. Please tell me how he's a white supremacist.
Yeah, like, he's a Nazi.
He's a Nazi, bro. He's a Nazi of all things, bro. Are you serious, bro? Fucking ridiculous. Look, Voltaire has a very good quote, and I'm not going to say their names on the show because that will actually get it taken down.
Okay.
Voltaire has a very good quote. If you want to know who controls you, look at who you can't criticize. Look at who Kanye was criticizing and then look what happened to him.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. If you want to know who's controlling, look at who you can't criticize. Yeah, I guess it's like a form of force in a way. Like the biggest dick in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a show of power.
Exactly. Yeah, a literal show of power. It's like who's got the biggest muscles, who's got the biggest dick, sort of.
Yeah.
And
What have you Googled to help back something up? Did you say you want to look something up?
Yeah. So okay, Robert Kennedy was a brother of JFK, and his son is the one who's now planning on running.
Okay, so his nephew, really.
Yeah, but he's a Democrat, and that's obviously on the left. But the thing is with the Kennedys, they were good Democrats. You know
Yeah, well, back when Democrat was a whole different word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another thing people don't know is who ended slavery. Can I ask you that question?
I'm gonna say Abraham Lincoln.
Okay, Abraham Lincoln. Sure, he ended it in terms of what political affiliation was he?
Oh, I have no idea.
Republican.
Oh, okay.
So that's the right.
Okay.
Right. And what do we associate the right with now? Racism, conservative views, and
narcissism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But who ended slavery and who advocated for it? The Democrats advocated for it. They wanted it.
Oh, wow.
Like, people don't know that. They ask people that question on the street and they'll go, yeah, the Democrats ended it, man. He's like, no, the Republicans did.
Yeah, wow.
You know?
So they've done a full circle, they have.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a... I love how our conversation's gotten so... To me, it got a little bit scary, to be honest, because I was like, how can you stop this? But you said it well, and it's that you don't have to stop it. You just have to become aware to it and don't become a part of it.
Exactly.
Exactly. I like it.
Don't follow the herd. Follow the other herd.
And that reminds me as well, like with COVID as well, it was a good example for me where it's like, you did reference it was a test.
Yeah.
All right. And I see it as a failure. Not for us, for them. Because we will not comply to another lockdown the way we complied in the first place.
Exactly. That's why they know that another pandemic won't work.
Yeah.
In terms of next level of control.
Yeah.
And that's why this contingency plan for these UFOs to be flying around everywhere and then scare the shit out of people has been in the plan, in the docs for like 80, 90 years.
Oh.
You know, it's been planned for so long. Because originally where it comes from is, do you know Roswell?
Yeah.
You know Roswell. Obviously you know Roswell. Everybody I ask my age now and a little bit younger don't have a fucking clue what Roswell is. Even the official story, they have no idea what Roswell is.
All right, well, go into it. It's educate the masses.
Educate the masses here, bro. Roswell is in 1947, New Mexico. Roswell, New Mexico. Something crashed in a rancher's farm, right? Now, this rancher comes out, typical fucking 1947 rancher in New Mexico, shotgun out, ready to just fucking blow cunts apart.
Yeah.
It's his ranch and he's not going to tolerate it. Anyway.
What are you doing in my barn?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah.
You have 3 seconds.
Get your ass out here now.
Yeah.
Anyway, he walks over to this fucking thing. And the way he described it was, originally walking upon it, it was cylindrical in shape, but long. Not cylindrical, sorry. Oval in shape, but long. On an angle, I have a photo on my phone of it.
Wow.
And long, and then he says there was 2 bodies mangled to bits, and a third one that looked like it was barely breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes and calls the local authorities, because it was a small town, Roswell at the time, and he calls a journalist from the local paper. The local paper comes down. It's just one journalist and one cameraman, but the cameraman obviously at those times didn't have the camera to film it. He just took a photo of it.
Yeah.
So he took a real photo of it, of what the scene looked like. About 10 minutes after the journalist and whatever, they wrote up a whole newspaper. And on the first day, the newspaper came out. It says, New Mexico Ranch, flying saucer crash. And they got the photo there and they described the whole scene and the bodies and everything. About 10 minutes after they left, military comes. Obviously, because they called the local authorities and the authorities called the military. Military comes, cleans the whole site up, gets it all the way to what we now know as Site S4, Area 51. They move it all out, and then they stage a whole big scene, and they get the journalist to come back and the cameraman, they threaten them and say, if you don't do a whole new paper, get rid of all the papers that you've already printed, even though they never actually got rid of them. There's still some out there to this day. You're going to have to do a whole new newspaper article. And they did it, right? So the second day it comes out, because mind you, they've already given out these newspapers. Mm-hmm. So they had to do another one. And then the next one was saying, weather balloon crashed in New Mexico Ranch. Rancher says something about blah, 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 blah. And then... Crazy
farmer.
Farmer, blah, 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 blah. And then they go up to the farmer later to do an interview with him. And they go, how do you describe this whole situation and what happened here? He's like, I just wish I never found that fucking thing. He's like, this ruined my whole life.
Yeah.
He's like that. He's like, I know what I saw, and no one will ever convince me otherwise because I know what I saw. He's like, but this really, I really wish I never. Like, I really wish it wasn't my farm that it crashed. Yeah. And
wow.
Yeah, it's just like, and that's one of the original craft. I mean, that thing, the third entity, they call them EBs. Extraterrestrial biological entities. That's the name within the black budgets and stuff. That third one survived.
Oh, wow.
And they tried their best to make him better, but obviously it's different here than it is wherever he the fuck comes from.
Yeah.
And they tried to also get in touch with his people, and he was basically like, it's like a lost cause.
Yeah.
But he met a bunch of officials within those secret groups and whatever. Even the president, for Christ's sake, Dwight D. Eisenhower. And then from there, that's where it all sort of kicks off. That's where it all starts.
See, I thought I actually didn't know that I didn't know that story at all. I was thinking of something completely different. I was thinking of the thing that they found was element 114. That's what I confused the story with.
Element 115.
5, yeah. That's what I confused the story with.
They found that in the craft.
Oh, they did find that.
So that's how they got their original craft to work. Bob Lazar worked on those.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it crazy how Black Ops 1 Zombies is the story of that? Did you know that? That's what the thing is. It's actually Element 115, and Roswell is the name of it.
Group 935. That's Group Majestic 12.
Yeah.
The people who follow all that, they make all that stuff.
Yeah, but that's the whole plot with Roswell and the element and the thing actually leaked out once they tried to fuck with it
and teleportation devices to the moon and all that sort of shit. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
It's sick. It's like it's been right in front of us.
It's exactly right. Exactly right.
Based on true events.
It's literally based on true. And for people to deny Roswell of all things, you can't. Can't. As I said, I've got a photo on my phone. I'll show you later. But it's the photo from the first newspaper, the real craft.
Mm-hmm.
and it's fucking insane. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Fucking love conspiracies. They're just so fucking interesting. They fuck with my brain. Like
They do.
Do you try and separate yourself from them?
Well, that's what I was talking about before with the QAnon stuff. That stuff you genuinely have to separate yourself from because most of it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
But what I'm researching is individuals and accounts from military personnel and stuff like that. Obviously, I do have to distance myself from it, but I can never forget about it because you can't. As soon as you forget about it, that's when they win.
Yeah.
So can't forget about it, but yeah, I do distance myself from it. Like I'm not constantly talking about it with my mates. Like, for example, as I said, if I go watch the UFC, for example, I'm not bringing it up every 5 seconds. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying my time. Like I'm gonna enjoy life as I enjoy life because I realize that I'm just one person. I can't actually
the minority in the situation.
Yeah, exactly. I can't make that big of a difference. At least I'm trying, but it's not really gonna happen if we're being realistic about it.
Yeah.
So I just live my life to the best. It's just live my life to the fullest.
It's just like extra bits of information.
Exactly.
You know?
And when it goes down and everybody realizes I was right, all good. No worries. Come kiss my feet off. I'm dead, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
you've been prepping.
Like we can't even deny it now because of how much is in the media now.
Well, that's why I'm so firm on my beliefs because it's like it's no longer crazy to think it.
Exactly. They've basically admitted it.
Yeah. It's considered to be crazy to have your own ideas of what it could be. Exactly. But the fact that it is there is crazy.
That's another thing. They want you to think the mainstream version of it. They don't want you to diverge. But you should diverge because that's where the real truth is. That's where you find, as I said, downstairs before when I'm having the cigarette, Dr. Stephen, who's one of the people that I follow, he says that he has the official documents from the CIA, and in it, they literally call this kind of technology and all this kind of stuff weird science freaking magic.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
So it's like if you think the fiction is bizarre, the truth is much more bizarre.
Yeah. The truth is something it's like and it's like, do you ever think about the fact that whatever you believe, you'll find evidence to believe it even more? Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that evidence is falsified and a lot of it's made for you to think so that you believe it. It's really dangerous. That's why this whole game of researching and finding out what's true, what's not, what's real, what's fake, stuff like that, it's dangerous because you're really getting into territory where like the whole thing here is misinformation and psychological operations.
Yeah.
Flat Earth is one of them. They want these dumb cunts to think that the Earth's actually flat, bro. The Earth's round. It's spinning around the sun at 1,000 miles an hour, probably more. Yeah. Like, don't be stupid.
Dude, I've put in hours into Flat Earth. Hours.
Oh, please don't, bro. Not anymore.
But it's like I'm not convinced. I can't be. It's ludicrous. But I wish it was. That's one of those conspiracies that it's like, I want to be on that team.
Well, you know what's an interesting one that probably is true? Admiral Byrd's case of the Hollow Earth.
Yeah, I thought you were going to bring up Hollow Earth. Hollow Earth is...
And that's based in science.
I don't know, though. I don't know if I could jump on board with something like that. I find it to be interesting because I've been looking up earthquakes and shit just in my spare time because we have to earthquake-proof our refrigeration systems at work now.
Oh, really?
So in supermarkets, they want to make everything earthquake-proof just in case.
Why is that?
Just in case, because it's like it's not impossible. I looked it up. We have an earthquake that reaches number 5 on the Richter scale every year in Australia, and we have one that reaches a 6 every 10. And then we've had the cases of like 8s. Like 1989, we had New Zealand got hit with an 8.9, and that hit Australia, I think, in like an 8 or something like that.
So that's why everything's got to be
earthquake proof. Wow. So if you're in a supermarket and an earthquake just comes down, all the false ceiling will most likely it will fall, but all of the unistrut and bracketed pipework, cable tray, plumbing, anything, a fire sprinkler, anything like that. They're fixated with ropes and tension beams and things like this, so it can't collapse on you. Yeah. Which is like a crazy industry that costs a fuckload of money for something that could happen, but I am not blaming them for doing it.
Right. Yeah.
It's also an insurance grab. Like it's obviously an industry that's been made up. Clearly. I have a theory that like someone from an insurance company had someone else that they probably knew who convinced them, look, we should probably implement this. That way we can never get sued for it, but only use me because the one company makes all of the fittings. Yeah. Only one company. And then that gets rolled out. And now that guy's able to make millions of dollars. He can give a bunch of his money to his insurance company,
It's like a little monopoly.
And the insurance company won't allow insurance for places like Woolies, Coles, Aldi unless they do use this product. Right. That's my theory behind it.
That's crazy. Well, that's probably true.
It makes sense.
You just laid it out to me and I'm just like, holy shit, that does make sense. Like, that fucking did. That's crazy.
What I was getting at was like, I think it's crazy that because I was looking up tectonic plates because I was like, I don't think we're on a tectonic plate. I wasn't educated enough, but we are on a tectonic plate. We don't go between two tectonic plates, which means we're not susceptible for a bad earthquake.
Yeah.
And Australia is on top of what's called the Australian plate, which is basically the same shape as Australia.
Oh, really?
America has got a couple of them that go through them, but they're on tectonic plates basically in the shape of America.
Yeah.
Russia has one the shape of America. Asia, all the same. But then a lot of these countries have crossover plates.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to think of, like, we are on a body of land floating upon water, all right?
Yes.
And then underneath us are these bodies of land floating on plates, floating on lava
And water.
and water. But it's like, it's just the same thing that we're on now that has just been
Underneath,
underneath.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the same shapes and everything,
Exactly,
of continents,
yeah.
which I found very interesting.
It is interesting.
But that's like leaves me room for like, okay, so where's this hollow earth meant to come in?
I think no. Again, I don't like to get into the hollow earth because I don't do too much research into it. I just think that if you're gonna choose, like with the psychological operation they've got going with the flat Earth, that's bullshit. They just want people to dedicate their time into something. That's a whole
Yeah, you need someone to do it. Eh?
exactly. Yeah. You do.
Someone's got to do it. It's
But-
like a weird thing, off topic, but it's like I remember one time like tripping on psychedelic. I took LSD, and then I remembered like I was just thinking about the fact that everything's got to be done. It's Murphy's law. So, like if you think about it, if it's possible, it will happen.
It will happen.
If it can happen, it will happen.
It's literally Murphy's law.
Yeah, if it can happen, it will happen. So I was thinking about like, so what's my job? Like, what am I here to do? And then I just remembered the video of that guy. There's a mad mainstream video. I'll put a link in the description, but it's fucked. Be warning if you watch it, it's fucked. This guy pulls his eye out at a party on LSD.
Oh, I've seen that.
And he eats it. He eats it.
I don't want to.
He eats his eye.
Description, bro.
All right, I won't put a link in the description, but if you want to find it, watch it. You don't see him rip it out or eat it, but you see the aftermath of the party. Like everyone's like, "Fuck!" People are crying. This guy's walking around with one eye, like fucked up.
That's the thing, bro. How like?
But you know what I thought in that moment? I thought when I was tripping, I was thinking about it. I thought, thank fuck someone did it. You know what I mean? Someone's got to do it. And I'm not doing that. I'm so glad he did that. I'm so glad he did that.
Especially while you're tripping too.
Yeah, I was like, okay, thank God that's not my destiny, you know?
100%. That's crazy. Fuck you, bro.
But it's like, I thought of that because it's like, someone's got to be on the flat earth side of things.
They do.
It's just like a statistic.
Even if it's the
like,
retards,
if
they
it can
do it,
happen, it will happen. Like someone's got to be the bad guy. Someone's got to be the dictator. Someone's got to be assassinating, and
Yes.
someone's got to be assassinated.
Yes, of course. I totally agree with you on that. That's Murphy's law.
It's life.
That's life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my dad's always said that to me. He's like, anything that can happen will happen. So
Yeah.
always take that into account when you're doing anything. That's
Yeah.
what I always do. It's like he literally. I always say Murphy's law to people and they don't get it. They're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Anything that can happen will happen." I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, no worries, bro.
Yeah.
You go out and do you do.
Yeah.
And when if something happens and you say,
Yeah.
"Oh shit,"
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he was right.
Well,
But yeah, no.
as a sidetrack, I think that could be an interesting conversation. But I think about if anything can happen, it will happen. If we live in an infinite universe of infinite possibilities, the multiverse, as people call it,
Yeah.
which is, I think, a perfect
It
terminology.
is, yeah.
That means that every movie, right, is basically something else that's happened in a universe. That's so, because it's infinite, and if it can happen, it will happen.
Yes.
So we're kind of like watching stories
From
of
elsewhere.
things that have happened, and then I think about like, what if everything you think of is not actually you're thinking of something, you're having a insight to another thing that's happening in the universe. Because if it can happen, it will happen.
Funneling information, remote information.
Yeah.
I believe that to be true.
That's a good way to describe it. Funneling funneling remote information.
Yeah, because I believe that to be genuine, we can actually do that as people, as humans. I know people who can. Like, I have friends. A lot of my information comes from a friend in Canada. Obviously, we've never met, but we're very, very close. We talk all the time, and he's so knowledgeable. He's a lot older. He's about 40 something, late 30s maybe. Very knowledgeable, this guy now, he just lives on a big farm and he just has everything set in life, and now he just gets ready for what's coming.
Yeah, well,
But he's like,
he's that farmer. He's Roswell, bro.
yeah, literally, bro. He's like, I dropped everything, all friends and that, because they considered me that crazy.
Wow.
And I'm like, at least you made it, but and he's like, yeah. But a lot of the stuff I talk about, a lot of the stuff originally comes from him. Not a lot of it. Like as I said, I go out and do my own research, and he encouraged me to do the same. But he's really knowledgeable in all this sort of stuff. And fuck, what were we talking about?
Remote.
Oh, the remote viewing. That's right.
Yeah.
So he does that, and he says that it's literal information coming from other parts of the universe to you, directly to you, and you funnel that through yourself. And another way is remote writing, where people take information that's not from that coming from elsewhere, they just use themselves as a conduit and they write.
Oh, that is so believable.
Yeah.
That is like Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a great example of funneling information.
What's his story? He was like inventing things of electricity by listening to the thoughts that came into his head.
Yes.
And then the more and more advanced these things that he was inventing became real, he would just go into a fucking trance state of just writing down equations, surrounding himself by these electrical currents, and he would come up with electric cars, and he'd come up with literal shit that we're using today.
So
free energy, fucking all this shit.
So funny you bring it up. So as I said, this agenda's been going on for 100 years, right? Suppressing this technology. See, that's the thing. That's the main problem that they don't want. They want the monopoly to stay where it is. They want the oil magnates to stay where they are. They want the gas magnates to stay where they are. They want all of the people who control our energy and power, everything to stay where they are.
Yeah.
Exactly. All the standards that have been set need to stay. The problem with releasing the real disclosure of these technologies and stuff like that is that it gives us essentially free energy. That's what their biggest problem is. And once you have that, you solve every problem. Mm-hmm. Every problem is solved from there on.
Yeah,
and you kind of look at it as though, and that's the thing, they've suppressed it not just with the ET technology, but people ourselves, we've made it. Nikola Tesla was a good example of the first kind of this stuff.
Yeah.
He was funded by JP Morgan. He made a tower which attracts, again, I'm not a scientist, but
it pulls
electricity down from the ionosphere, and converts it into AC current that like we can use, right? And it's free energy.
I think that he was like pulling, he was taking advantage of the vibrating atoms in the air and converting them into electricity. Is that right?
Yeah. But in the ionosphere.
Okay,
so
I don't know
the
what that is.
ionosphere is where the lightning comes from.
Okay.
Right, and he was extracting that and into this tower where there's a photo of it. And when he proved when he proved that you've seen the photo of the big tower.
Yeah.
When he proved that it could work, what happens about maybe 2-3 days later? I swear to God, you can look this up. This isn't me bullshitting here. Like the military came in with strategic bombers and bombed the shit out of the whole compound.
Oh, what? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's literally a photo of him standing with a Stubblefield, I think it's called a Stubblefield electromagnetic field. It's a thing that attracts energy from the ground this time, and he's powering a whole farm with it.
I've seen this photo. Yeah.
And that's free energy too. And what happened to Nikola Tesla? He even built a schematic for a UFO.
Really?
Yeah, there's a photo of it online. The real schematic they've released out of the classified documents of his. It's a 2-person UFO. It's shaped like a fucking flying saucer as well. And he says that it could have defied gravity and gone places we can't even imagine.
See, that's so cool, bro. Like he was
beyond his time.
He was just fucking tapping into this pool of knowledge, like somehow, and that backs up my other theory on thoughts that aren't from you, thoughts that come from elsewhere. People call them intrusive, and I keep wanting to use that word. It's the word I use, but people use intrusive as the thoughts you don't want. But I think of intrusive as in like something that just enters. I don't think of bad. I think of normal. I think of intrusive as something entering. I don't think of it as in oppressive. I don't know the word to describe it, but I think that thoughts come to you. You don't create your own thoughts.
Yeah, they come from elsewhere. Like I said, the flow of consciousness.
Yeah.
It comes through the consciousness and it enters your brain.
Yeah, you're just a vessel for this thought to turn into what it was always meant to be, 100%. i.e. an Apple phone, i.e. a car, i.e. a plane. These were things that were meant to be alive, and they entered themselves into someone's head to bring them to life.
Exactly.
And if the universe is infinite and we live in this multiverse of every single possibility version of you being alive at every single possible time, then you are not creating nothing. There's no such thing as imagination. There's only tapping into something that's already there. There's no making up a story. There's telling a story that exists.
That's what I say to people all the time. Your life is a book. You haven't read the last pages. You're going through it. And people say free will is true. Free will is real. It's not real because every decision that you're going to make has already been made. You just have to go ahead and make it. You know what I mean? People go, no, but you do have free will because I could make a choice to, like, for example, get up, smash this on my head and walk out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a choice.
That would be viral.
Right? It would, obviously it would. But I wouldn't, right? Because the choice for me is to stay here right now. And once the choice is already made, you look back at it. Like, for example, you look back at the last 23 years of your life, right? Mm-hmm. And you go, every choice I've made has already been made. So if someone was reading this as like a book or watching it as a movie, the choices don't have real meaning because
it's a story.
It's a story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the truth with everybody's life. Like I talked about this podcast coming on it before, and we had a little bit of a joke
camera,
where I was like, you know.
It was always meant to happen. It was going to happen now, no matter what.
Exactly. And so everything converges at this one point, you know. And there's a lot of theories on what the true, I guess you could call the meaning of the universe is, and the meaning of life in general. I think it's just, we're not meant to know right now. I think that this part of the journey is, like, we're meant to know a lot more than we do, but we're not meant to know the full answer right now. I think that that's saved, reserved for what comes next.
Well, that's I think about that too. Do you think that we'll ever get to the full answer? Because it's like this isn't my theory. I know that other people have thought of this, and I probably only have my reference from hearing it. But as far as you can zoom, you're always going to be able to zoom deeper, right? You'll always be able to go deeper. Yes. Did that exist before you zoomed in? Is an ancient philosophy. Like it's a question through time forever. And the same thing is now, as we're getting better with technology, how far can we look out? Exactly. And the further you're looking out, was it there before you looked at it? Exactly. Or is it there because you looked at it?
It's like if a tree falls in the woods, did it make a sound? Was anybody around to hear it? Therefore, did it make a sound? No, it didn't make a sound. Like,
yeah. You know even if a tree falls in the wood and no one's there to hear or see it, did it ever fall?
Did it even fall? Exactly. It's the same thing. It's just like seeing is believing. That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe that's true. I believe that you don't genuinely have to see something with your eyes to know it to be true. Just as long as you're not accepting falsehoods from people who preach this shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying.
Like,
you're saying seeing isn't believing. Seeing is up for interpretation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's up for interpretation. And even still, exactly. Seeing is up for interpretation because the things you see can be fake.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Yeah. And if we've learned anything so far talking to each other now, it's everything's fake.
Everything's fake, bro. It's all fucking fake. This iPad fake, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking fake.
But yeah, as I was getting at was like, say as far as you can zoom in, you're always going to find more. You're never going to get to the end. Same as if you go out. But isn't that like the same thing with faith or the answer? Like, if it's just because will we ever get closer to the answer, or are we just getting further and further away than we ever were when we started? And that's the same. I want to reference like my dreams that I have today. The dreams I have today are all right, say a year ago, everything that I could have ever wanted, and I started to pursue my dreams.
Right.
And that's where I'm at today. I want to have a podcast. I want to have this and that. I want to be able to just sit down with my mates and talk for hours and on and meet new people. But my dream now is so much bigger, and I want to be able to reach more people and have more people listen and meet more people that I've never met before. Yeah. But when I get there, I'm just going to have a bigger dream. And I'm actually getting further and further away from my dream the closer I feel like I'm getting to it. Mm-hmm. It's just getting so much bigger as every day goes on. It's like that's the same thing with trying to find the meaning of life and the answer to life. Like, are you ever going to find it? No. Is it even there? Is it the fucking God particle? Is it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the Higgs boson.
Is it something that we're even, does it exist? Does the answer exist? The meaning of life exist?
You're asking very profound questions.
It's only there to look for. The meaning of life, what I'm trying to work out personally, the meaning to life and the answer to life are to look for it. Because you're never going to get it, but you're going to gain so much in the process. And it's infinite, ever growing, forever going further away. Mm-hmm. But you're just going to keep going there.
I think that's a great point. I think I agree with you on that in terms of like we're always striving for it. But in terms of like a real fucking answer that's tangible and you can use that answer is like not just like a a la-di-da answer,
Yeah.
like, we're here to love and peace.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a real answer, I don't think we get that right now. I think that comes next. So I genuinely do, I know there is life after death.
Yeah,
It's just not what we think it is.
I believe. What allegedly, I've got to stop saying that because it's not my joke. That's why there'll be a link in the description for that podcast. It is a great podcast. Everyone watch that and tell them and like their videos. Don't like my shit. I'm stealing their shit. But what do you think a life after death could be?
You're asking me what the afterlife is, or what do I personally think it could be?
Two in the same.
Two in the same, yeah. I guess they are. I don't know why I asked. I mean, I think it's a very personal experience for everybody. I think that everybody has to go through a certain stage in the afterlife. But in terms of, I think it's different for everybody. I think that once you pass, you enter a stage of extra sensory consciousness. It's like it's higher than what we're at right now. So you enter that level of what you could call a dimension or whatever you want to call it.
Let me pause you real quick. I'm gonna have to swap this SD card. So just fucking ask me. I'll slide it to you.
Cool.
Sorry for everyone. We had to pause Skulli talking, but do you believe you'll enter this extra sensual state?
Sorry. Yeah, everybody has like an ethereal body, an astral body inside, but you obviously in this state of being a third dimensional being, which is what we are, undeniable, we're third dimensional beings. Can't see it, we can't view it. We usually could in ancient, even the ancient Egyptians used to tell us, and before that in the ancient world, before the Ice Age and stuff like that, we had a third eye, a pineal gland, and it's so small and calcified now that we can't use it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that would essentially allow us to view into what we could call the afterlife, right? And you know how some people are clairvoyant and they have that thing that they
Intuition.
can, like, intuition and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they can see ghosts and they hold seances. Some of that's genuinely real. And spirits and stuff, some of them do wander the earth and stuff like that. But it's all, but the thing is, people go, oh, how can you believe in that and believe in aliens and stuff too? They're one and the same. It all links up. It all connects. And
If you have faith in God, then you have the same mindset as someone who believes in anything spiritual, anything ghost related, alien related,
100%.
tyrannical related.
Exactly.
You have a belief. That's all it is. I have a belief.
The belief is there for most people. They're just believing in the wrong things.
Yeah.
So it's like the pagan Roman Empire never collapsed. It just infiltrated Christianity. And now who do we worship? We worship the Pope in the Vatican City.
No, that's not Christianity. That's
It's not
Catholic.
that. Yeah, but it stems from the same They all three Abrahamic faiths are the same: Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Right? All Abrahamic faiths stem from Abraham. Right, but then they have sects and stuff like sects, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously Catholicism is one of them.
Sex with underage boys.
Yeah. I'll bring that up later, but yeah, they do. And in the Vatican City, it's its own fucking city with its own treasury. They make their own laws separate from Italian laws and stuff like that. And it's still to this day, that's how it's been established. And the Pope, for Christ's sake,
For Christ's sake.
I
love that.
he wears a fucking hat that is shaped like a fish. That hat represents Dagon, the pagan god. Dagon, the fish god. That's who they're worshipping, and people don't realize that. It's the same in all religions. They're corrupted and they're misconstrued and they've been mistranslated over time. Originally, all of them come from the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
And the Dead Sea Scrolls tells you part of the truth. But if you want to consider yourself like a real religious person, all you have to do is just have faith in something else.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that when it comes time for you to make that journey, you'll know what to do.
Yeah.
Like I also believe in reincarnation. That is something that happens.
Okay. Well, let's get back to what you think could happen after death. After death.
That's what it is. I was about to say. Reincarnation. That's one of the things that can happen. But another thing is, you do travel physically through this dimension and others. So like through space, for example, that could happen. But in reality, it's just an individual journey for everybody. And I can't.
So you think that everyone could have a different experience? Do you think that some people could have reincarnation? Some people could have traveling through like space and
Cosmos,
time.
yeah,
Cosmos.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think that people who aren't awake and who are so indoctrinated into the systems today, they will be reincarnated. They'll be sent back to Earth as fodder.
Yeah. Gravel.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite jokes. Like you come back and you're just a piece of gravel, and you're stuck there for like 1 billion years, bro.
Fuck my life, bro. Oh god. Because
Like, oh, it wasn't so bad being poor. You know what I mean?
Go back, take me back.
Yeah. You're just a piece of gravel forever. That is that, baby.
And then you get tripped. You get kicked one day. And you just go fucking flying.
Well, I always think this like at work or whatever. Like if I ever came reincarnated as like a screw, right? I always have like a box of screws. This is so fried. Oh, this is so fried. But I always think like, what if these are all reincarnated people who have died and now they're living their life and they've been made as these screws, and it's their destiny to be screwed into this fucking wall. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna just fucking put this screw towards destiny, and then I fucking go to use it, and then I fucking drop the screw. I go, you fucking wasted your fucking life, you fucking piece of shit. You will never get to fulfill your destiny. And I throw it down a wall. I throw it down a drain. I make it known that, and then all the other screws in this fucking box, it's like, use fucking better screw. You know what I mean?
They all shape up. They all get rigid.
Every screw goes in after that. I've set an example for that one screw who fucked up. Look at your destiny. You're going to become cockroach fucking scum. You know what I mean?
You'd make a great dictator. You'd make a fantastic dictator.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, that reminds me. Have you ever heard of Doxy's cult?
Have I?
I don't know. It's only something that I've recently heard of myself. And
Doxy's cult.
Doxy's cult.
Is that a real thing?
It is a real thing, yeah. I don't know if it's on the internet yet. Like, I'm sure it has. I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but...
Right. And is it related to you?
Look, I'm the one telling you, so I guess you can relate it in a way, but I'm not trying to proclaim leadership. I'm not trying to be like, this is my thing. It's just something that, as I said, all thoughts come to me.
Right.
So I just heard about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't take pride in that. I can't take ego and be like, it's my thing. I just heard it. All right. So Doxy's cult. First thing about Doxy's cult, once you hear about it, you're automatically in it.
Oh, shit.
And second thing, unfortunately, once you hear about it, you can't leave. You know, it's like, it's one of those things, bro. One of those things you can't.
I didn't hear about it.
You didn't hear about it. Fucking Nixie, shout out to you, Nixie. You just featured in the podcast.
You just ruined everything.
Well, yeah, I like that theory of the afterlife, but it's a very like open theory.
That's the thing. I like to keep it open because I know there is one. I just don't know what my journey specifically is going to be yet. But everybody's different. But you know, there's no denying it. We're special creatures. Like everybody goes, oh, we're just like animals. Like similarities, maybe DNA wise. You know, maybe that's where we came from. They merged their DNA with our DNA and fucking and that's what we consider gods and whatever. I won't go into that right now because it'll take me fucking hours.
Yeah.
But we're not like them because they're smart and like there you go, like dolphins are so smart. Yeah, they're smart. They have an IQ, but they don't have what we would call the awareness, the consciousness. It's like we're the superior being on this planet.
Oh, but it's not even close.
It's not even a competition.
That's useless to say because it's like Adam said the one thing to me, and I'll always remember this. I praised him, and he's like, humans are the only creature that can blush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a great way to explain all of it. Like no other creature is able to feel what we feel.
Yeah.
Feelings is what makes us
emotion.
us. Yeah.
Real emotion. Because I get it. Elephants grieve and whales grieve. It's part of the death process though. That's different.
Yeah.
We don't just grieve at times of death. We literally feel emotion in every second of every day. Like right now, we're feeling emotion. I feel happy, you feel happy. Like that's the emotion we're feeling.
And the crazy part is we are interpreting and feeding off each other's emotions to help our own emotions and to feel more comfortable and to feel more stable. I don't know if animals would experience that.
No, that's what I'm saying. People who say that we're just like, we're not. Like they don't use that excuse because we're not. We're not like them. We're similar, maybe we look like primates because maybe a little bit of our DNA comes from them. But in terms of our brains. That's the main thing. It's our brains.
Yeah.
It's different. It's just a different level of intelligence and consciousness. And
So do you reckon there'd be an afterlife for things like animals?
fuck, I haven't ever looked into it. I genuinely
Well, I don't know
can't
if it's
answer
something you
that.
can look into. I think it's something that you just have to freely think out of
All
your
right, you
own
want me
free
to-
will.
I'll give you a straight answer. I think yes, but not in the sense that we think of an afterlife for ourselves. I think it's a little bit different. I don't know. I fucking good question.
Well, I guess if you think about
'Cause
reincarnation
I don't
in a
want my
way,
dogs. I don't want my dogs to just die. and
all
that's
dogs
it.
go to heaven. Let's
Yeah,
just
let's just
write
put it
that
there.
down.
All dogs go right to the best place there
all
is,
dogs
bro.
go
Right
to
to the
heaven.
light, bro.
Yeah,
That's
there's no
where
need
they
to
go.
question it. All dogs go to
They're
heaven.
going straight there.
But I think if you believe in something like reincarnation, then yeah, animals have an afterlife because then you're reincarnated as an animal,
Yeah.
and then is that the final step? Like obviously not.
No.
Like that would be silly.
No, well,
that
the
would be
Buddhist-
silly to be a human and experience everything you've experienced just to come back as an animal and then you're finished your story.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with that. But that's the thing, though, the reincarnation thing. The Buddhists believe that reincarnation happens when a soul isn't ready to transfer out of the cycle. So they call it a cycle. It's like a 7 stages of the cycle, right? And so if you don't break out of that cycle, you'll always be reincarnated. You're always going to come back.
And then the enlightenment is the final
Exactly.
stage.
Enlightenment is the final stage, and you have to break out of that cycle. But that's not just mentioned in Buddhism. That's every major religion and minor religion in the world says the same thing. And for some reason, it's always 7 stages.
Oh yeah.
So it's always 7. And in Islam as well, it's the 7, like the 7, in Christianity, it's the 7 pillars. In Islam, I think it's the same thing, pillars, 7 pillars.
Yeah.
And it's like 7 stages of getting to heaven.
Yeah.
Right? Hell's at the bottom, lower astral dimension, and then the light dimension's at the top, heaven, what we would consider heaven. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, genuinely speaking, going back to the animal question,
Yeah.
I think so, because of the way you put it, it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd have to look into it a little bit more, maybe. But yeah.
I have a theory that I think what life could be like after death, and it's that all religions, I believe, are trying to tell the same story, which you believe as well. I know that you do, and everyone just has a different way of interpreting their story and worshipping and all these things. And I sound like a little bit of a broken record. I've said this on a couple of podcasts already, but it's thank you for clicking on the Doxcast. Yeah, but when you die, I think it's a good theory that your consciousness goes up into a collective pool of all consciousness. And you're able to reflect on how you lived your life and remember and visually see and sense and all these things. But because you've now entered this conscious pool, you're able to feel what your impact was on everyone else's life because you're able to see what it was like to be them.
Yeah.
And then while you're up there, you're either in a sense of relief and joy and pride or in a sense of regret and pain and suffering because you're experiencing the torture you implemented on others. And that would be considered heaven or hell.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And you're just living forever in this heaven or hell state. Now, at any point, I think that you would be able to go back and try and relive your life and change the wrongs that you've done. And then that could explain that feeling that I personally have with deja vu, where it's like you feel like you've done this before. And I suffer from deja vu worse and worse as I get older, where I get it now and it scares me. It's like I'm trying to remember how long I've been doing this same cycle for. And it takes me a little bit of thinking to really break out of it or just ignore it.
Yeah.
And it's when I get it, it's almost like this is fucking fucked. I've done this forever. I've always been in this moment. Because I really think about it when I'm in that feeling of deja vu. But then it would also explain that gut feeling you get in your stomach where you have an important decision to make and you have that intuition to go into which path is your real journey. And maybe that's you going back and I've got another theory about deja vu that I'll bring up if you remind me. I'll put a pin in that. But that would also explain reincarnation, which a lot of these religions are trying to explain. So we've already established Christianity and Islam and all these things of heaven and hell, but now it explains reincarnation. Now, if you're in this pool of consciousness and you are one and you are a hive mind and you're essentially God at this point, you are all knowing and all experiencing in time, lost in time, then you will technically have to have been someone else. And I would have lived your life, and you would have lived my life, and we are the same. We are one. And that would explain how everything. There's an ancient Chinese theory called not string theory. I think it's called string theory.
No, string theory is the new.
That's yeah. Well, string theory, not talking about Hawkins string theory.
Not the new one, yeah.
The Chinese version of it. So it is string theory, and that's that. Every time you put every single inanimate object and ideology and feeling is connected by a string, connecting to all living beings and thoughts. And when you pull on one, it pulls another one, which pulls another one that wraps around the corner, which pulls on another one. And it's like it's this beautiful dance that life entangles itself with. And it's like things are just, and as you say, it's already pre-written, it's already destined to be. And I think that would explain how you have empathy and you would have sympathy and you would have love, and two people just have a connection because you're so close in that pool of consciousness. And I think that, it makes sense to me that at any point you can go back and try and wrongdo. And Adam, shout out to you, Adam, he mentioned on my podcast that when you die, there is an ancient religion that you join one of two forces. You join the good side or you join the bad side. And it's just a constant war in these two spirits. Yeah. And that would explain that. And for me, it's an easy ideology because I can see how everything makes sense within this one idea, but it's completely fucking made up. You know what I mean? It's completely made up. So it's like, I'm not trying to say it's real, but for me, it's an interesting theory because it explains so much.
I like that. I do. Your friend, Adam, who is this guy?
Adam Kadir, I believe you probably could have met him at some point, but he was my fight trainer when I was a kid. He lived in Glenwood.
And you did a podcast with him?
Episode 26 or so.
About.
Turkish.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Turkish
about.
gentleman.
Turkish guy. Yeah, I know all about it.
Yeah, and that pin that I just dropped in there with deja vu is, it makes sense to me in a way where what deja vu could be is it could be a future version of you remembering that moment. Does that make sense? Because it's like you've been here before, but what if that's just you in the future remembering that moment?
I think with deja vu, it's open to interpretation, as is anything. But that is very, very close to what my theory on deja vu is. It's something that maybe has already happened and you are just experiencing it again in a different timeline.
Yeah.
The real explanation for deja vu is that your brain tries to put memories together that it thinks has happened before, and then when they collide, it's like you're making a memory that you feel like you've done before. In reality, it's something that's completely different. You're taking two parts of two different memories and sticking them together. That's the official explanation. That's what they want.
Well, is that a theory they have in science, or is that a thing that they've proven?
I don't actually think you can necessarily prove it.
Because how could you possibly measure deja vu? That would be a coincidence in itself.
So I think it's just what they consider the most likely thing that relates to it. But that's like with anything, you know. The mainstream will always tell you this is right and everything else is wrong. Like my favorite, I'm going to bring this up just quickly because I know we're probably not going to go on for too much longer.
Yeah, I know.
But I just want to bring this up, and I encourage people to go out and research him as well. Graham Hancock.
Oh, I love Graham Hancock. I talk about him a lot. He's a legend.
Graham Hancock. And with Graham Hancock, he sits outside of the mainstream in his field, archaeology. But he's not an archaeologist. He even describes himself, I'm not an archaeologist, I'm a journalist.
Okay.
And but the thing is, he's just been bashed and berated and beaten down so much within the mainstream that his ideas just get pushed to the side always. But now he's breaking into the limelight again, and people are really taking into his ideas. Like my favorite one that describes ancient civilization against the mainstream is Göbekli Tepe in Turkey.
Yeah, fucking great fucking piece of landmark that is revolutionary.
I can't wait to go there and see it for myself, because that was literally probably built by the previous after the flood, the civilization
before the Younger Dryas impact.
Before the Younger Dryas impact.
Yes.
Yes, I don't have to explain it. Like, yes, fuck
12,000 years ago.
12,000 years, 11,800. Yeah. And that essentially, you look at places like Göbekli Tepe, right? And the what the mainstream will say to you is, oh no, we know what happened here. Hunter-gatherers just fucking decided out of nowhere 10,000 years ago. Just out of nowhere. They're like, nah,
Let's just build some mad infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just gonna make these earthquake-proof megalithic structures, huge structures aligning to true north and all these different crazy astrological signs. Make the stonework perfect, laser precision. Perfect. Literally fucking perfect. You're telling me hunter-gatherers out of nowhere just decided they're like, fuck it, let's just go build that. Nah, I'm telling you, no.
Yeah.
Like, and the other thing is the Sphinx as well.
Oh, the Sphinx is fucking... Do you know, I recently learned that the Sphinx originally most likely had a lion's head.
Exactly.
And it was carved again by a pharaoh to make it look like him.
Yeah. So it's much older than what they say it is. Roughly 25,000 years old.
I was going to say around 20 to 30,000 years is what it could be.
Yeah, so that's when they...
It could be 50,000 years old.
Right? It could be 100,000.
Yeah.
You don't know. That's the thing. The civilization... We've reset before. That's what I wanted to make the point of. We've reset before. This isn't new. Civilization has done this before. But we were much better and more advanced as a civilization pre-Younger Dryas, pre all that. Because there was a place that I'm going to bring up now that people are going to go, oh, now you're really fucking ahead. It's called Atlantis.
Yeah.
You know, the story goes that Plato describes this beautiful empire, this beautiful kingdom of just peace and tranquility, and everyone's helping each other, and the technology was so advanced, and they were able to fly and do all this crazy stuff. Plato described this just before the year 2000, the year zero, sorry, so about 2000, 2,100 years ago, whatever. But he got the story from...
I thought it was way older than that.
No, the story... Okay, so the story is older than that. The Atlantis story is older than that, but Plato's the one who
mainstreamed it,
and made it for everybody to hear. So Plato said that 2,000 years ago, and Plato's a Greek philosopher. But the story actually comes from his, and you've probably heard this because you're into Graham Hancock. You've probably heard this. So the story comes from Solon, his uncle. Solon actually went to Egypt, spoke with the high priests there, and the high priest essentially said to him, yeah, this is what happened 9,000 years ago, which is exactly when the Younger Dryas happened. 9,000 years ago from Solon's time, a big wave came, and the gods were so angry at Atlantis that they sunk the city, right? And we now know that and
that's why it's the lost city of Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we now know that actually happened in terms of tsunami. Like, you can't deny Noah's flood, for example.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
You can deny the ideology behind it and the biblical paraphrasing of Noah's Ark.
Deny the flood actually happened.
But to me, it's like, how can you argue that there was going to be a flood and a guy just had some insight to build a boat, and then as the waters are rising, all the animals that this man has ever known to be existing have climbed the mountain to escape the flood and ended up on his boat. Yeah. He's had two of every animal.
Well, that's the thing they say.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It doesn't make sense to say there was fucking crocodiles and there was also fucking giraffes and there was also Siberian tigers.
He didn't bring literal two of every animal, because the boat wouldn't have fit it. Instead, it's a story passed on through myth and legend. And what really could have happened, most likely could have happened, is he brought their DNA with him to recreate what we need in the world. And probably two of every kind of species that could diverge into different species.
Oh, I don't even think about it from that extent. I just think of it as if a man had an insight. He trusted his subconscious, which is AKA he got a message from God. It was a thought that came into him. He didn't feel like he created this thought. He was listening to something in the universe. He decided to build this boat on the highest structure he could find in case of a flood. And by coincidence, if you want to call it coincidence, or by destiny, a flood came through. Bro, I've seen the impact of floods when we have them here in the Hawkesbury. The bugs start crawling upwards, bro. Yeah. All the spiders, all the dogs, all the sheep, and everything's going out all the way. No one's going to drown on purpose. Exactly. They're going to find their way to his boat if it's the highest point.
Exactly.
Now, that's as much animals as this man has ever known to live. It's everything he's ever seen. Yeah. It's every snake. It's every fucking amphibian. It's every single thing. And it has flooded as far as his eyes could possibly imagine. It's the entire world to this guy.
To him. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's everything. So as this story's been passed on through generation, we're going to learn about new animals in different countries and shit, and you're going to change it. But but to me, that's a real event.
I was about to say, it is a real event. It's not to you. It actually did happen. And it's not just... See, the thing is, how can cultures who never connected, they tell us never connected throughout civilization, have the same story about a flood that happened at the same time with the same person? What do the Muslims call it? They call him Z or something, or Zhu. A guy built a boat, animals came on and basically saved the world.
Yeah,
But that's the
Africa
thing.
has the same mythology.
Exactly. But what it is it's not just one person. It was survivors from the kingdom who spread out over the world. They lived coexisted with these hunter-gatherer tribes peacefully because they're still human at the end of the day. But they just let them do their thing. Like now, though, we don't. That's not the case.
Yeah.
But they spread out from the kingdom originally once the big Younger Dryas impact happened, and the survivors were considered gods and giants and these mystical beings, and they came and they spread knowledge, and they were telling all these people how to do agriculture, how to do writing, music, all this stuff, right? And it's true though, because in the myth, you can't take that as myth sometimes. It's not just legend, it's truth.
Yeah.
You know, like in Mexico, they built the biggest pyramid in the world.
Yeah.
Right? And they say it was built by giants.
Yeah.
Well, not literal giants, intellectual giants.
Yeah.
Like who came and
Yeah.
taught them how to do all this stuff. And same thing with all the pyramids all over the world. I believe all of those have much different meaning than what.
Yeah,
what
I love it, bro. I love the theories, like, because it's like you can see past the mythology.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
see the science behind it. You can see what could be up for interpretation. You can see how everyone played the game of Chinese whispers in school, but it all comes from an origin. At the end of the day, the origin wasn't. No one pulled that origin out of thin air.
Huh.
There was a set thing in the beginning. The teacher told the first kid the thing. That thing
Exactly.
existed.
Exactly.
It was real. Just because it got to the end of the classroom and it had deviated doesn't mean that it wasn't real in the beginning. It had just been deviated.
I want you to listen to a song. Obviously not now,
Mm-hmm.
but I want you to listen to a song called "Patience" by it's Nas. You know Nas.
Yeah.
And Damian Marley, who's Bob Marley's son. And the song, there's a couple lines in it that you'll hear and you'll go, oh shit. But there's one line in it that goes, are we born knowing? Are we born knowing? Are we born not knowing why? Are we growing wiser or are we just growing tired? And I hear that and I'm just like, that's so true. Like, for example, you're born perfect innocence, literally a fresh plate.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we born knowing why? Everything, like everything. And then we just slowly, as we get older, it's just, we lose all of that.
Yeah, I hear. Well, yeah, as I said, there'll be a link in the description for this Graham Hancock Netflix special that is out at the moment.
Oh yeah, Ancient Apocalypse.
Ancient
is that what it's called?
Apocalypse, yeah, and
I haven't
he
actually seen
goes
the whole
into
thing
detail. Yeah, bro, it's beautiful. We gotta watch the whole thing.
I gotta
It's
watch it. Yeah,
fucking
I've
amazing.
seen most of it. I have definitely seen most of it. But
It's-
calling
Do you want to take that?
me.
Real
Yeah,
quick? Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. You gotta take what you gotta take. We've been yarning for a bit. We won't yarn for too much longer.
I was gonna say, man, because I'm
fucking
getting messages
free.
on messages,
Me-
bro.
me
People
too.
are going, "How's the
Me
podcast
too.
going?" I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Fuck me, let me do it. Let me
Me
get
too.
it done."
But yeah, there will be a link in the description. And I love the lost city of Atlantis. And do you know they believe that they have found where the actual location of
No, they
Atlantis
have.
was?
It's not believed. They have, and they hid it from us. It's the Bimini Road out near the Bahamas and all that. Cuba.
Yeah.
That's where, even on ancient maps, that's where they put it.
Yeah.
Turkish generals, they used to put it. Ottoman generals, they used to put it there.
And now you can see it. They've got satellite imagery now and drone imagery of the exact description of what the landmass looked like,
Yeah.
and the sculptures of buildings and all these things buried underneath sand.
Do you
Caused
remember?
from a flood.
Do you remember I sent you that guy a while back? This was before I was going to come on the podcast, and I wanted you to watch an episode of his, and you watched it, and you're like, I didn't really get it because it was out of context a little bit. It was like too late into his series for you to kind of jump in, but I wanted you to watch it anyway. His name's Dark Journalist on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if you want to go and do a bit of research yourself, just go watch him.
Okay.
Like, I'm not just saying it
On
to
YouTube?
You. On YouTube. His
There will
name's-
be a link in the description.
Yeah, Dark Journalist.
Yeah.
His name's Daniel, and he's a truther, I guess you could say. But he outs all of this stuff, and he has the sources and citations and everything to back it up, and the witnesses and the credible testimony and everything like that. He's got it all. And he is one of my biggest, like, where I get most of my information from Atlantis from. Like, obviously I love listening to Graham Hancock, but at the same time, Graham Hancock is he's a bit stuck He because he didn't really find a way to move forward with it. He just kind of stagnated, but that's not his fault. It's the pressure from the community around him.
Yeah, he's also busy doing bits, bro.
Exactly, he's a very busy man. He still has all of
He has
his
a
stuff
lot of
going on.
ancient things that he looks into.
Yeah, exactly. He's traveling all the time too.
Yeah.
And he's really old
Now he's a
as well.
superstar. He's Netflix specials,
Right,
Joe Rogan enthusiast.
Joe Rogan
yeah.
is, but he's been with Joe for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
And Randall Carlson too, is another cool one. But yeah, see, fucking this guy, dark journalist, not famous at all. His stuff doesn't get promoted. Obviously, the algorithm doesn't select him because they don't want you to learn about this stuff. But seriously, if you want, go have a look at his channel and just sit down one day when you got literally nothing to do and you're studying. I don't know, whatever you're doing, really. Just chuck it on in the background, just like how people listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Listen to this podcast as well.
Number one,
of course, number one. But don't like as I said, go do your own research. And this guy's really good.
Yeah,
He does
sweet.
the whole Atlantis thing. And you know who discovered Atlantis originally? At least who he says discovered
I
Atlantis?
have no idea.
Jacques Cousteau,
I've never heard of that.
the oceanographer, the one who pretty much he was a very famous oceanographer,
Mm-hmm.
and he made a movie for the US government, and the movie originally was like 6 hours long, and they edited it down and released it to the public. It was 1 hour 20 minutes, 1 hour 30 minutes, something like that. And in that movie is him pretty much discovering it. the whole
Oh,
thing.
wow. That's sick. Yeah, that's sick. I
See-
want to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't find the 6 hour version.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's yeah.
Nice. Oh, bro, I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to wrap it up. It always gets to a sad point in every episode where I
Yeah,
have
it
to
is
call
sad,
at the
isn't
end. But as I've said to most people in the past, but we have a lot to get to in part 2.
Bro, you're telling me, man. Today was just the warm up.
It was a beginning.
I consider today like just a bit of a gab.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a
yeah.
chinny
A
wag,
catch up, but just to let everyone get like a little bit of a warm up. You know what I mean? Give everyone a warm up.
And we'll do this again soon.
I see us as almost like a Joe Rogan and Duncan Trussell episodes. You know what I mean?
dude.
We got to dress up for the next
Oh
one.
yes, bro. Yes, bro. I'm wearing the astronaut suit.
Yeah, I might dress up as like a Osama bin Laden or something like that.
Dress up as the Aussie icon.
Oh,
you went.
What was that guy's name, bro? I can't
I
remember.
seriously don't remember. That's how
That
much
was-
of a fucking CIA plan he was. I fucking couldn't remember.
I see. All right. Well, I have one final question that I do ask everyone that comes on, and that is just a way to wrap it up in case anyone just isn't in the best mood while listening. And that's, what's a piece of advice that you would give to someone if they came to you because they were feeling depressed, mostly because they were just lost?
Purpose in life can be found in anything, right? So if you're feeling lost, it's not like you're necessarily lost. It's just like you at the current moment in your life are lost. I genuinely believe that there's a place for everybody in this universe, a place for every soul. So to give advice to somebody, I would never give advice to someone to change their life or anything like that. But I just tell them, everyone has a purpose. Everyone's here for a purpose. Everyone's here for a reason. And your reason isn't to be here, to be sad, to be thinking to myself, fuck, what am I going to do? Your reason is to be here, and I don't know what your reason is, but clearly it's something better than the state you're in right now.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
That's...
I like that answer. Because I do believe that too. I believe that everyone has a purpose, and that's the beautiful part of it, is finding your purpose.
Exactly. That's, finding your purpose. You
Yeah,
gotta find
because
your
like
purpose.
you kind of make it up, don't you?
And I can't help you on that. That's why the question to me seemed a little bit, because I'm an empathetic person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially nowadays. Maybe when I was a kid, when I was younger, I was just a fucking dickhead, just running amok, doing
ditto.
stupid shit.
Yeah,
Bro, fuck,
ditto.
you know the go anyway.
Yeah.
But now I feel I'm very empathetic. So when you asked me that question, I felt as if I had to give an answer that was like, I have to help this person. But then I remembered, hold on a second, let me kick back. I'm not actually with this person asking you a question. It's theoretical. It's hypothetical.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to tell them how to run their life. Just give them the advice that I'd love to be told to me, is that everybody has a purpose, including you. And your purpose isn't to be in the state you are in now. The state you're in now is what they want you to be.
Yeah, break free.
Break free.
High School Musical. Very honestly, thank you very, very much for coming and doing this episode. It's been a long time coming. I'm glad we waited until now.
Yeah, bro.
I'm very glad.
I had so much fun today.
It's good, eh?
It's so good.
It could go forever. It could go
That's
forever.
the thing. I could sit here until fucking 6 o'clock, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
And just
I know.
talk shit. It's
And
just
then
so
I'll be
good.
fucked with the editing.
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm thinking about just then, actually, before we fully end it. you're gonna edit this. Well, of course,
Yeah.
We've been sitting here for about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to watch the whole thing, which I'm gonna do as well, of course. But once you've edited it, you have to watch the unedited version.
Yeah.
And sit there and decide, and then make those decisions, and actually do the editing. Like, you're doing it all yourself, and I commend you for that because it's great.
I appreciate that.
Fuck me, bro. 3.5 hours of just like, yep. Like,
3.5 hours is trust me, an understatement, because you have to remember all the times it takes between clicking and pausing to decipher between different cameras.
Yeah,
There's the audio syncing, which I have to constantly make sure they're in line because they do spread out over time because of non-fiber optic cables and shit like that. Yeah. So you have to constantly readjust things. You have to delete me saying things like I have to delete other person saying things like ooh. There's just sometimes
right, so you actually do that. You go into the audio and separate the lines. Wow.
I want to captivate some things that you've said that I've heard, but because I'm in my own head going, oh yeah, I delete that.
See, I did that a lot today too. I go, oh wow.
Yeah, but I'm aware of that while I'm going, and I'm deleting audio, syncing video, cutting between camera angles. So 3.5 hours, I'll probably do it in 6.5. Yeah, wow. That's how long it would take me.
So yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Well, as I said, thank you very much. I appreciate the time, and I am excited for part 2.
Oh yeah.
All right. Beautiful. That's a wrap.
Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a 2-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stunt.